This podcast is brought to you by the Arete Podcast Pantheon. Please head to aretemedia.org to see plenty of other podcasts from our great friends. And if you would like to start your own podcast, they can provide you with the tools and resources to do so there. So head to aretemedia.org. ARETE media.org. And finally, the link will also be in the description below. So you can head there from there. On with the show, Jordan?
On with the show, Justin.
Yeah, after weeks and weeks, I finally realized I should probably have the link to the website in our videos. That was probably...
Wait, you haven't been putting the shame on you. You should be ashamed.
I know. I realized it the other day. I was like, oh, shit, whoops. So that's now in the description.
How four people are supposed to find it if you don't put link, Justin?
I spell it every week. I spell it. I spell it out. I spell out the website. It's nice. He said, "Welcome to Spurr of the Moment podcast, everybody." Flawless intro as always from Justin. He nailed it. He nailed it.
Shame.
Nailed it.
Shame.
He nailed it.
Shame.
I am, as always, your inscrutable host. I am Justin Spurr, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, the incomparable Jordan. Everybody, how is Jordan doing today? This week? How is he this week?
Jordan's tired this week. Jordan's been doing a lot of overtime, and Jordan is feeling the effects of it.
Is Jordan excited for that week off we're gonna have?
I'm a
little excited for it.
Yeah. Jordan is a little excited for it.
I mean, it's not completely free because it will be front loading shit for the premiere because we learned our lesson from last time. But I do intend to watch some stuff that people have been bugging me to watch. On today's show, we got a shit ton of Marvel news. So there's just going to be a section called Marvel News.
Marvel.
There's stuff about that Young Sheldon spinoff. Terminator, Freaky Friday. Shows were canceled. We'll talk about which ones were canceled and how I'm disappointed about some of them. But first, we're going to lead off the show with something kind of poignant. We're going to talk about...
That's a big word for you.
Shut up. Poignant. We're going to talk about... Kevin Conroy's final lines as Batman. The final lines. Jordan, you know what they are? Don't say them if you do. Do you know what they are?
I think so. I think I've seen that clip floating around TikTok.
It's been pretty good. He said finally to end it off, and if it has to end, at least I go out like this, being Batman. Which...
Yeah.
Great. Poetic. Very lovely. Very good. Quick.
Love it.
Quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I was real sad. About that. And I'm glad that shitty Suicide Squad game is not the way him as Batman gets to go out. Like, this is a great way for them. It's like they knew. I mean, they didn't. They had no way. But it's like they knew. We're probably going to do an animated DC episode, so I have an excuse to watch those movies. I'm not going to lie to you.
That's fair.
But did you see the clip I sent you of the ending of it?
Yeah, without context, it's confusing. So they're restarting an animated universe, is the point?
Well, it looks like they're all going into James Gunn's new universe. That's what it is.
Oh, is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where this is the moment that at least that's what the person in the video I sent you seemed to imply. Because in the new James Gunn universe, everything is going to be connected. Like animation, live action, it's all connected. So yeah, I guess that's why he's like Superman's like, yeah, you'll be there, but like your spirit will be there because there's more than I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, there's more than one Superman. So I'm guessing all the versions of Superman like are going to merge into the James Gunn version. That way they don't have to do an origin. They can just be like, here's all the characteristics we like.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Either way, I want to watch that.
So let's begin. Our what I like to call Marvel news. It's just a shit ton of Marvel news. So Comic-Con,
Marvel news.
So for our big season finale next week is going to be massive. Just to give you the heads up, it's going to be massive because Comic-Con starts on Thursday. So on Thursday there's going to be a Deadpool panel, and they're doing Hall H this year. So big announcements coming from Marvel. So my question is, what do you think we're going to see at Comic-Con from Marvel?
I mean, I think they're gonna show us what the big bad of this arc is gonna be. I think they're gonna kind of land on that. I think we're gonna see the Fantastic Four trailer.
I don't think I don't think they've started shooting yet, so I don't think we're gonna see a trailer. But they're gonna bring the whole cast out on
They'll
stage.
bring
Definitely,
okay, yeah,
definitely for
then
sure.
they'll bring the cast. Um, what else is there? Maybe
Yeah.
Spider-Man news, like the Homecoming, the prequel show.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll see. Yeah, we might see some TV stuff. Maybe I'm sure they're gonna be pushing the shit that's coming out. So I'm sure we'll see maybe an alternative trailer to the Captain America trailer where we actually see Red Hulk. I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't know what else
Yeah.
they don't really have anything coming out in the next year. It's all like Avengers stuff. I mean, unless they're gonna come out and like actually, yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, we're not doing Kang anymore. Here's the new thing, and they like finally announce
Maybe they'll announce some more games.
maybe. But yeah, maybe they'll finally be like, yeah, no, Doctor Doom. This is our Doctor Doom. Oh no, did they already announce a Doctor Doom? No, I don't think they did.
I'm
They did.
not
They announced a
sure.
Silver Surfer. They announced a Galactus. I don't think they've announced a Doctor Doom yet. So maybe this is the moment they announced Doctor Doom. I don't know. But moving trucking right along with our Avengers news. Apparently the Russo brothers are in talks to do Avengers 5 and 6. Shockingly, out of nowhere, they're in talks to do
D-
it.
didn't they say they were like done?
Yeah. So either they offered them the correct amount of money, or Marvel was like, well, the only ones who managed to make good Marvel movies in the last 10 years were the Russo brothers. So like we gotta like roll them out.
I mean, either way, that should be fun.
I think so. Although I mean, I wanted to see someone different. I wanted to see them do something. As much as I like the Russos and I like all of their Marvel movies, I wanted to see someone try something different.
I see what you're kind of like where you're coming from, and I don't disagree. But if for what we have, for the toys that have already been established and that we already have, I kind of like Andy to keep playing with the
I
toys.
mean, yeah.
But if you're gonna wipe the slate clean and restart the universe, that's when to me I'm okay with taking chances and bringing in new
My
people.
my thing is, Endgame should have been the end, and the Russo brothers already had their chance to end this. Like I don't know. I'm like I firmly believe Secret War should be the last one. Like that's it. No more MCU. After that, we do individual movies that are isolated that maybe can exist in the same universe, but we're not gonna plan for an Avengers every 10 years and have to worry about who's the big bad guy. No,
No,
let's work on
yeah, I
making
think
individually good movies
I,
for
I
now.
I think we're at the point where we could just have movies where like you can name drop a character and
Yeah,
that can be okay.
that could be just
And like
fine.
we can just be like, yeah, they exist. It's like the comics. They just exist in
Or
the
like,
same world. And like if it's an Iron Man thing, it's an Iron Man thing. If
yeah,
it's a Tony, like and then yeah, then you can just do standalone Avengers movies where it's like it doesn't need to be like they've built up 17 different movies to get to it. Like you just have a big thing
yeah.
that comes and brings
I
them
mean,
all together for that movie,
I like James Gunn's approach of
and
just like
it can be its own story.
these heroes are just around and they'll just walk by and it's like, hey, there's that guy, and he's in it for like 30 seconds and he's played, you know what I mean? Like they get a famous
Yeah,
person, put him in a costume and have him show up for a day. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. And then
I
it's
think
funny,
I think we're at that point where
um,
you can do that.
it's funny that you brought up Spider-Man 4 because it's happening.
Is it?
Kevin Feige finally confirmed it. Yeah, he's given up a new update where he says that yeah they've already begun working on it. And they have writers that are going to deliver them a first draft like relatively soon.
Do we have any idea what it's going to be about?
Beyond rumors, no clue.
Interesting.
I've heard. There's been
What do
so
you,
many
so,
rumors.
so then me and the audience would want to know, what do you think they're going to do?
God, I don't know. I'm hope. Well, I mean, I know what I want. I want it. I want the
Not
Daredevil.
what you want. What do you think they're going to do?
God, I feel like they're gonna try Kraven's Last Hunt because the second Spider-Man game was and completely missed the point once again about why that story's good. Because I actually listened to Kraven's Last Hunt and it's good. Like the ending of it is it's like it's genuinely a very well written story. And Spider-Man 2 and any Spider-Man 4, if they do it, will butcher it. But it kind of see and don't do Venom. Like also don't do Venom. Um,
Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view and how you feel about it, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they did a version of Yeah, the Spider-Man 2 game where because the piece of Venom broke off and exists in that world now.
Yeah.
So to have it be where it ends up on Peter and Craven starts hunting him because of that, yeah, I could absolutely
Oh no,
see
that's
them
not the
going
rumor
that
of what it
route.
was. The rumor of what it was is Craven like kills him like he does in the comic, and then he bursts out of the grave like he does in the comic, and he's wearing the black suit like he is in the comic, but he doesn't earn that. It hasn't earned that. This universe hasn't earned that, so it doesn't work. Um,
Um, now let's flip that and say, what would you want them to do?
well, what I think they're gonna do, and what I would want them to do, kind of co-aligns, because I think they want to do a Daredevil. Well, okay. It depends on who you talk to. Like Marvel, Kevin Feige, I believe, want to do. It's grounded. It's Daredevil. It's Spider-Man. It's a street level story, and it's Daredevil and Spider-Man versus Kingpin. That's what I want. I don't want him to get a new suit. I don't want a new upgrade. I don't, and that's one of the rumors is that he's not getting a new suit. He's gonna wear the suit that he has at the end of Homecoming, and that's it. He's not getting a new suit. Um,
Because like I think what it could be about really depends.
hold on real quick. Sony wants to do another Andrew and Toby come back, and it's like, no, don't do that. Absolutely don't do that. Bring them back for a Secret Wars or an Avengers or whatever multiverse thing, but don't bring them back for Spider-Man 4. Just have Spider-Man be on his own.
No, it kind of undercuts 3 if you do it again
Yeah.
for 4.
Also, don't bring back Zendaya, and don't bring back Mary Jane. Don't bring. I keep seeing rumors that they might come back. No, don't bring them back. It completely undercuts the point of the last movie. Like, do at
No,
least one movie where they're not there.
I would say give him either a not Gwen, but a Gwen.
No, don't introduce a new love
No,
interest.
I'm
Don't
no,
introduce
yes,
a new
you
love
do.
interest. Absolutely
No,
not.
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No
I
love
disagree.
interest.
I disagree with that.
Absolutely no, because that's so tired. No, Spider-Man doesn't
It
always have
it
it.
yes, he does. He always has someone.
No, he doesn't. Not always, and
Yes, he does.
no, not always. He's not
Yes, he
always.
does.
There's sections of the Spider-Man comics where he's single, and he's not. Like, he goes on dates or whatever, but he's not like there's not like a main love interest. Like no, just have a movie where he's just on his own. There's no girl. Maybe there's a new best friend character or whatever, but there's no like he can have platonic female like relationship. He doesn't need to have.
I don't agree with that part.
We didn't just get
But
rid of Mary
anyway,
Jane
what I was gonna
well, hold on.
what I was
Let me
gonna
finish my
say.
point. We did just get rid of Mary Jane to try and like do their version of Gwen Stacy. No. Boo, yuck, gross.
I mean, no, that's exactly why they did. The thing about girls in these movies, unfortunately, is they are essentially like Barbie's clothes, where they give them a different partner so they can just have a new
No.
actress.
Do a buddy.
That's all that Mary Jane is in these movies,
Do a
and
buddy team up
it would
movie.
absolutely bring her in.
Do a buddy team up movie where it's Spider and I think looking to the future, I think that Wolverine and Deadpool will like.
Hello there, short C19HXE. I'm not sure who if we know who that is, but hello.
But yes.
But no, what I was gonna say is,
Daredevil buddy team. Hold on, let me finish. But Daredevil, Spider-Man, buddy team up movie. No women. I mean, not no women, but like no love interests. No romantic.
What I was gonna say. Can I finish? What I was gonna say is, I think what the movie is about and who is in it largely depends on when it takes place in the timeline. So, like for example, if Fantastic Four comes out first and they introduce Johnny Storm, I want Johnny Storm and Peter and Spider-Man together.
I mean, that'd be.
I want them together. I want, instead of it being a Daredevil Spider-Man buddy movie, I want it to be a Johnny Storm Spider-Man
that would
team
be
up
fun,
movie.
but that flies in the face of that's pardon it. For me that's
okay.
Too fantastic.
C19.
That's too fantastic.
Hello, C19.
That's too fantastic.
But no, it depends on when it depends on when it takes place in the timeline. If it takes place after Secret War, after they've met, like all the heroes have met, and that's how Spider-Man meets these other characters, then there's a lot more possibilities for what you can do with the story.
I don't want any.
Then if it's like if they have it take place before Secret Wars and it's just him in the streets kind of thing. Like it's just what the movie is gonna be is gonna really depend on when it takes place.
I don't think, to be fair, I don't think Spider-Man 4. Secret War should be it. Like that's it, and then no more Marvel movies for 10 years. Like that's it. And then no more Marvel movies for like then people will actually be excited for them again.
We might have to do that after the stream. Sorry, it says Discord link not working. Can you update? I can join you guys Discord.
No, I don't. No, sorry. Uh,
Hello,
Later. We'll do it later. Later.
Justin.
Yeah, I'm here. Jordan.
Hello,
Hello.
are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah,
Later.
no, we'll have to do that later.
We'll have to do that later.
Um, but no, yeah, what it's about, I think, is going to largely depend on when it comes out, like what placement it is.
Yeah. Well, again, it's Marvel and Sony want two different things, right? Sony wants to just do the last one again. Marvel wants to again keep it grounded. He's disconnected. He's on his own, and that's what I want. I don't. To be fair, I know that they have to have a team up, but I don't want it to be a team up. I know legally they have to. That's why Iron Man's in Homecoming, is because that's part of their deal, is that
It's easy work, by the way. Okay, MB.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just to keep things from being disruptive. Unless they have something to contribute, Jordan, you can just ignore.
Okay.
In terms of chat, like unless they have something to contribute to, because like to stop and be like, oh, I want to join your Discord. I mean, that's, you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
I lost my train of thought. Marvel. Sorry, very distracting. Marvel. And then finally, Jordan, Marvel news. Finally, Spider-Man 4 is happening. That was the point. Spider-Man 4 is happening. I think it should be no new suits, no new nothing. Barry Bones, he's just Spider-Man. He's just fighting regular criminals. And at most maybe a Scorpion or like a you said Scorpion at one point, and I quite like that idea. That's
yeah.
That's
like J. Jonah Jameson. J. Jonas Jameson doesn't remember who Peter Parker is. He's trying, or who he is. He wants to know or find out about Spider-Man, and he creates the Scorpion. Scorpion
they'll probably rewrite it so it's Kingpin. Kingpin creates the Scorpion, but yes, it'll be something like that. And then Jordan, finally in our list of Marvel news, I'm gonna ask you a question that I asked you yesterday, and then I'm gonna give you a choice. Oh come on, you're not gonna show me that. Beautiful. Okay. Sorry. There's a picture and it's just easy to look at the picture. Okay. Jordan, do you believe that a movie soundtrack will provide spoilers for a movie?
I think it depends on the movies. Sometimes the name of the track absolutely draws like comparison or allusion to what is happening in the scene.
You want to stress this?
Give me one. Give me one.
You want to hear? Okay, so here's the context. So they've released the soundtrack for Deadpool and Wolverine, and there's one track in here in particular that, like, if it happens in this movie, it'll blow my mind.
Interesting.
But I'm not sure if it's a spoiler or not. So I'll give you some of them that they don't feel super spoilers. So,
because I've tried to go into this completely blind. I haven't even since the first trailer where we see all of the yellow suit. I haven't watched any trailers for this.
So okay. So, Only You (parentheses) and You Alone by the Planters. Bye by NSYNC. Angel in the Morning. Slash, Glamorous, Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. I'm a Ramblin' Man by Waylon Jennings. You Belong to Me by I don't recognize this name. I thought that was the Taylor Swift song. And then The Lady in Red. I'm With You from Avril Lavigne.
The Lady in Red is definitely I know how that could be a spoiler.
Yeah, I that's the one I know how that could be a spoiler. I'm With You by Avril Lavigne. Now this is the one that I think is potentially a spoiler. Do you want to know what it is?
I mean, The Lady in Red already keys my Do you know who I'm thinking of?
I do know who you're thinking of, and yes, I know. I'm not going to say what it is, but I know what it could be. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. The Greatest Show from The Greatest Showman is on the soundtrack for this movie.
Really?
So I'm just
Like
gonna say
like
it right now. If Deadpool and Wolverine bust out into a song and sing that song, I will. It'll make me laugh. I'll laugh. It'll be very funny.
well, I mean, you don't have Hugh Jackman in there and not have like he in the previous movies he already references Hugh Jackman.
Right?
So like when you actually have him, if they have the movie rights to that, then yeah, I could absolutely see them
The rest of
having
these
some
don't
fun with
interest me.
that.
The rest of these don't really interest me. But other than there's one called Goodrids.
Honestly, though, the biggest spoiler for me again in that list is the Lady in Red.
Yeah, I could see how it would be. Yeah, but
If
I
you
don't know.
know any, if you know anything about Deadpool,
I mean, it was a multiversal Deadpool movie. That character
yeah,
was gonna show up. It was just that to know that doesn't really surprise me. Maybe
it doesn't surprise me, but it is if you
yeah,
I haven't
for
seen the
sure.
movie, and now I can be pretty sure that that character is going to show up.
In some
That is
capacity,
technically that is technically by the definition a
in
spoiler.
in some capacity, yeah, you know that they're gonna show up, but also you don't know how they're gonna show up. And also, to be fair, it might not be a reference to that character. You don't know.
I will not be surprised when I see it.
I mean, I know, but you might not know.
Anywho,
I saw the last trailer and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting stuff.
again, trailers these days have become so spoiler filled. I
I
just with
know,
this one, I really didn't want to take the chance.
I know, I know. So that's it for Marvel news, Jordan. Jordan, do you have a special Marvel news theme?
Um, no,
Jordan, how is it not just the Avengers? Da. No, that's not it. How is it not just the Avengers theme?
because I didn't want to take the chance that I was going to screw it up, and you're going to be like, "That's not the Avengers theme," and make fun of me.
Oh, you mean like I just did?
Yeah,
But you didn't immediately say that's not the Avengers theme. So you ruined the joke, Jordan. You spoiled it. You spoiled the joke, Jordan.
we're currently talking about the Deadpool 3 trailer, C19.
Yes, yes, but we're about to move on to our next topic, which is that Big Bang Theory spinoff, the Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. And Jordan, remember how we asked the question, how many of the young Sheldon characters were going to come back?
Yeah,
All of them but young Sheldon, it turns out. Oh, and the dad. All of them but young Sheldon
I
and the
mean,
dad.
the dad can't come back, so
He could
that's
come
perfectly
back. He could be a
understandable.
ghost. They could be like, ooh, spooky ghost dad.
It's Ghost Dad, Ghost
You just
Dad,
think the
da
actor could
da
just like
da da
burst out
da.
out of another room and be like, they could be
Ghost
like,
Dad, Ghost
Ghost
Dad,
Dad. Like they could do Ghost Dad.
blah
He could come
blah.
back for a Halloween episode where Ghost Dad's just there, giving
I mean,
Georgie advice.
I don't think it's that kind of show.
It could be that kind of show. I mean, it's a multi-camera sitcom, so it could be that kind of show.
As for not bringing back Sheldon, I mean, character-wise, that makes sense. They don't like each other.
Kind of, but also like they also. I mean, he could theoretically guest star. I guess do occasional guest spots where he comes back for like Christmas or whatever. I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah, they
But
could.
they're not coming back as permanent. It's weird because um her parents are there as like I think main cast members, but it was Mima, the mom, and the sister I think are the ones who are there. And it says they're just guest stars, which was confusing because I'm like, but they're there. Like he still lives with them, does he not? At the end, by the end of
I'm
that show,
guessing. I'm guessing
pretty
that
sure.
they'll have them. I'm guessing within the first like 10-15 minutes of the first episode, they'll move out somewhere.
I'm guessing, yeah, clearly. Somewhere close where the characters can like pop in every once in a while, but not have to be
Yeah,
on the show consistently. Yeah, yeah, probably. You're
yeah,
probably right. Or something that's easy to
like like
because
like a city over or something like
yeah,
that, where it's like, yeah, like they could come visit,
it's just
but they're not so close that they have to be there every day.
it's weird to transition back to a Studio three or multi-camera sitcom from Young Sheldon because now everything has to like be on a set, right? So it has to look like Big Bang Theory now, which is just so weird because it's so completely different, obviously stylistically to Young Sheldon, and that's part of why Young Sheldon stuck it out for so long because it didn't look like Big Bang Theory. So I mean, this thing is, in my opinion, doomed to like a season at best, maybe two.
I just don't know who was asking for it.
People who like Young Sheldon, like I fully believe, like you could do you could do a follow up to Young Sheldon. Like they clearly wanted to do a Young Sheldon, but they were running into that problem of, oh shit, he's getting old. The kid's getting
Yeah.
old. That's clearly what it was. So they wanted to write out the characters, or write the characters that it didn't matter into a position where, like, that's the thing is the only one who it really, I guess, matters theoretically is Missy, because Missy has to age into the adult version, but and she's kind of a different character, but Sheldon becomes problematic because he eventually has to turn to Jim Parsons. But I think they should do a remake.
Yeah.
I still stand by that idea we had, where they do kind of a remake where it's in this, and I saw lots of people say this, where it's like in the style of Young Sheldon, but it's a Big Bang Theory remake. I would totally watch
Right.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with a sequel series
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's about the kids.
Yeah. I saw lots of people saying that as well, where they do like a sequel series and it's older Sheldon. He's in his like 40s or whatever. He's got little. I want to see Sheldon raise teenagers. Like I think that would be so much fun.
I mean, especially if they're normal, quote unquote normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I love that finale. We have a video where we talked about how much we love that finale. I love that finale.
Yeah.
It's really genuinely very good. I didn't send it to you, but there's a trailer from. We keep talking about it. That Terminator anime. They finally put out a trailer for it, and it looks pretty good.
Interesting. Yeah, that was that was one where when you mentioned it, I remember saying that's an interesting idea that nobody's really done that in an anime before, and I'd be interested. I'd be interested in that one. Is that coming to Netflix?
Yeah, it's a Netflix one. Yeah, we got Netflix at the right time. There's some cool shit coming to Netflix.
Yeah, we sure did. Definitely didn't plan that, but it worked out.
Yep, right. No, I'm yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks really pretty. Also
good.
In the realm of shit that they're turning into anime, there's a I don't know if we talked about it yet, but did I send you the trailer for the Rick and Morty anime dub? Which, like, what is the point?
Yeah, you did, and I don't get it.
I don't get it because, like, okay, I get your apprehension with the anime as a concept, right? But like, at least in Japanese, it's like, okay, this is a Japanese, because it's made by a Japanese guy. Like, it's not like an American trying to like it's not like we're gonna talk about Scott Pilgrim later, but it's not like Scott Pilgrim where it's like a Canadian's idea or an American's idea of what anime is. It's like, no, it's made by a Japanese guy, quite a prolific Japanese director who's made lots of stuff in Japan that's quite well known. So like, it's the Japanese's interpretation of Rick and Morty. So like, in Japanese, I get it, and a lot of the humor just doesn't translate. Like, I really like the first one where they do the twist where it might be that Rick is old Morty. I quite like that one because I thought
the Rick Pinkle or whatever.
Yeah. The Rick versus
or the Van Dinkle story.
He says Rip Van Winkle, and then Game Theory. He corrected it. He said, actually, no, the Japanese translation is not Rip Van Winkle. It's another Japanese folklore story that's different but similar. But it's not quite the same parallel, and I can't remember what the exact parallel is. But I remember Matt Pat coming out the back of that being like, yeah, it's possible. But I quite like that one. The second one, there was one where it was a companion piece to the Akira episode that was okay, but part of its problem was, and this is why I'm with you on the anime, in subtitles, a lot of the humor, like a lot of Rick's way he talks, doesn't translate well. Like his pattern for how he speaks, his very, I don't know how to, you know how Rick speaks.
Yeah, like the burpy, stilted kind of like.
Yeah, where he repeats himself. Same with Morty. Like, they don't really, because so much of it is Justin Roiland just riffing. It works later on when you have to like write around him, but when it comes to like just in a language, maybe in Japanese it translates, but me reading it in English, it just kind of sounds like incoherent nonsense. And he is saying incoherent nonsense, but the humor isn't translating. So I'm like, I don't see how this works in Japanese, but I was interested in it, like, because Rick and Morty always has interesting storytelling ideas. So I know that the premise of it involves Rick's fighting each other again, and that's when Rick and Morty is like, when it's Rick's interacting with Rick's, like, that's when it's at its most interesting in my opinion. So Anyway, that got really far away from the point of the dub doesn't make any sense to me because it's like you've taken Rick and Morty, translated into it's like those videos where you take a song, put it into Google Translate, and then take it back and put it back into English again.
That was weird.
What's that?
It went to the Discord symbol. Your sound started coming out of my phone again, and my headphones turned off, and then it just went back to working.
That is weird. Today's been a weird day. Anyway, but yeah, it reminds me of that, where it's like they've taken Rick and Morty, put it into Japanese, and then taken the Japanese and put it back into English. So it just it's weird.
I mean, I understood the short, doing a short, because it's like, oh hey, funny, it's Rick and Morty, but it's an anime, and it's like it's a one-off thing, and it's a joke, and it's like, it's for the weirdness of it. But then to take that idea and make an entire show of it, I just don't get it.
Oh, see, when I first saw that first show, I was like, I would watch a whole show of this. For me, that's not the part. That's not the part of it. For me, it appeals to me because I like different exploration. Because we had talked about earlier, what would be a fun anime, and I'm like, yeah, Japan is just weird enough that Rick and Morty suits them. Sorry. So like, it's for me. If it's for no one else, it's for me. But taking it, I saw a lot of people in the comments of that trailer being like, it's weird that they did a dub. Like, who's the dub for? Because anyone who's gonna watch this, I mean, other than for me, who's lazy and doesn't want to read subtitles, but like, generally as an audience,
they want the original Japanese
demographic. Like, yeah, weebs and guys who like watch anime typically are subs over dubs. So like, who is this dub for? I'm still gonna watch it because I'm fascinated, but that's so bizarre to me. And then yeah, the trailer for, in contrast to that, they released, I don't know if it was a trailer, but I sent you a clip of it, a snippet of that Suicide Squad anime, the dub, and I'm like, I'm into that. I'd much rather watch that dubbed.
Yeah, no, that looks like fun, and I remember you sent that to me, and I said this last week when we talked about it, that it's piqued my interest.
Yeah, it definitely is that they get transported to a magical world, though. That's definitely because in the clip I sent you, Clayface is like, "Ooh, I'm sexy in Japanese now."
Yeah.
So,
and my powers are slightly different.
My powers are slightly different. And we're going to probably do a pretty girl transformation at some point for Harley Quinn. There's no way we're not.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Right? There's no way we're not. Apparently, I'm just learning this now as we're talking. No, I'm kidding.
Breaking news!
No, apparently that Halo TV series got canceled, which my response to it, I saw a lot of people online being like, good. But my response to that was still on the air? Like, they were still making that show? Wow.
There was a Halo show?
Oh, you didn't know there was a Halo show? Yeah, people don't like it. It's apparently
okay.
It's one of those shows where if you're not a fan of Halo, because my friends, they watched it, and as people who are not familiar with Halo, they quite like the show. But people who like Halo don't like the show. And I'm not a big Halo guy, but I'll put it to you this way, Jordan. Within, I want to say the second or third episode, he takes off the helmet.
Oh no, that's a no-no.
Right. And he spends most of the show not wearing the helmet. Like, even as a person who's not a Halo fan, I know that's a big no-no.
No, he doesn't take that helmet off.
No,
he doesn't. No, yeah, no.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. He does not take the helmet off. That's the thing. Apparently, he's.
That's kind of.
I said like.
Point.
I said like, way to like miss the way to not give away what is under the helmet for 30 years just to do it in the show. But a mutual friend of ours, he pointed out that he has taken off the helmet in the games before. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure you've never actually seen his face. I don't think you've ever actually seen his face.
I don't know enough about Halo to feel qualified to speak on this, but
I've never no, not really. I read a bit about it because I was curious. I'm like, is there some sort of like lore to this that's interesting? No, not really.
I've only ever really played the first 3.
Played the first? Yeah, with a friend. Yeah, I've beaten the first one, and that's it.
Like, I've beaten the first 3 with him.
Yeah. I beat the first one because we had it on PC at one point, and it's fun.
Yes, we did.
It's a genuinely a fun game, and it's quite fun on PC. I don't own an Xbox, so I haven't played the other ones.
No, I have, but
I am surprised.
The first 3.
I am forever, and it's funny. Halo. I'm forever surprised that Halo has still managed to stay on Xbox, and Microsoft hasn't sold it to like a to like a third party and put it on another console. I that one I'm constantly, and it's funny because Sony tried to have their own Halo. Remember Killzone and how that's basically just the Killzone guy is basically just Master Chief. Even though even though I think they're technically the bad guys, but they put him all over the marketing because they wanted you to think he was Master Chief. No, you don't remember the Killzone guy? No?
Not specifically, but
I only remember it because of.
I'm not a big first person shooter guy.
The only reason why I know of the Killzone guy is because of that.
Isn't he the one with the red eyes?
Yeah. He was in. I think he was in that PlayStation Smash Brothers ripoff.
Probably.
That's why I only know. That's why I know of him as his own entity, is because of that game. Anyway. In Freaky Friday 2 news, which I still can't believe is happening.
Freaky Friday, man.
We talked about we were theorizing whether or not the boyfriend was going to come back and what his role was going to be in. I pulled up an article which said he's in it. Apparently he's on set. They've seen him on set. He's in it. I don't know how he's going to play into the story or how it's going to tie back into him, but he's in it.
I just assumed that him and Lindsay Lohan's characters were going to be married and it was going to be their kid.
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't say. Apparently there was going to be a adult themed oriented Flintstones show. I don't know if it was live action or not. Animated. Oh, it says, the adult animated comedy catches up with the Flintstones 2 decades later with Fred on the brink of retirement and 20-something oh, wow, that sounds interesting. Now 20-something Pebbles embarking on her own career. But they canceled it. Which is a shame, because that actually does sound interesting. I thought it was going to be like it's a modern...
Stone Age family?
Well, yeah, well, no, I thought it was just going to be a modern retelling of the Flintstones, where it's Fred Flintstones, but it's like with it's like... To be fair, I know I know what you were going for. I'm choosing to bypass it.
But it was funny and it was good.
I'm ignoring you. It's bad and you should feel bad. You know what you did.
I'm pretty proud of that one, actually.
You know what you did. Did.
I brought it all around, full circle, bitch.
But yeah, no, I know Seth MacFarlane has been trying to make Flintstones show for like years. He's been behind.
He successfully did a Star Trek. So if he wants to do a Flintstones, I'd say let him.
Yeah, but yeah, no. For the longest time, he was behind. He was producing. They were gonna do a full bore like reboot. Reboot. That was the word I was looking for. They were gonna do a Flintstones reboot, and it was gonna be in like the same kind of lineup as like Family Guy, Cleveland Show, Simpsons, all that. It was gonna be that style of kind of show. I don't know if it was gonna have cutaways, but it was gonna be that kind of comedy.
I mean, Fred Flintstone has been on Family Guy, so that does make sense.
I mean, well, Fred Flintstone is he's proto all of that. He's the inspiration for that archetype of dad character. Like, that's where it comes from. Homer Simpson is Fred Flintstone. Like, he is the progenitor of that. But it's a little.
You're not wrong.
And then I think that's it. I think that's the last of the news. Jordan, and so, John, with that, we're going to move on to the sponsorship section. And I didn't queue up a One Weekend at Horrorland video this week because I completely forgot. But we're just going to do it.
We'll do it live.
We're going to do it live. Guys, seriously, go support One Weekend at Horrorland if you haven't already. If you have, let us know in the comments if you have. If you have supported them. Because it's going to be sweet. And we're going to be there. I've been told multiple times that we if this happens, we're going to be there. They need people to set up chairs, and we have unbroken arms. That's what we've been told. So if you want to see us do this version of this live, or at a table at a convention hall in Idaho, you gotta support it. You gotta do it.
You gotta. I've never signed an autograph before, but you know what? I could do it.
And you know why you should as well? Because we've played him saying it, but Wolverine says you should, and Slappy, the dummy, and several people who drew covers on the books. They say that you should support. So support it. The link is, as always, in the description below. But today I had to do that real quick because today I wanted to talk about our other sponsor for today's episode, Trophy Smack. Because it's been a while since we talked about Trophy Smack, Jordan. And Jordan,
been a while.
I'm gonna bring it back to our very first Trophy Smack promo that we cut, Jordan, where we said, Jordan, let me ask you the question, Jordan. What if you had an award-winning podcast and you wanted an award for that award-winning podcast, to tell everyone that you are an award-winning podcast.
I mean, I'd use our link to go to trophysmack.com and I'd get a custom engraved trophy belt. They have rings, they have plaques, they have you name it. And if it's a trophy or trophy related product, they probably have it.
And if you order from them, you could wind up with a trophy that looks as sick as this one. It's backwards.
Raise it up a bit.
Oh, I don't know why it's backwards, but this is our.
It's not on the Discord.
Oh, is it not? It's weird because on my Discord it's backwards. So hopefully on the stream it's not backwards. But this is our episode of the year trophy from the Arete Podcast Network. Another thing that you can get if you join us in the network. I'm saying that we are the episode of last year. And by the way, Jake, this is part of. You know what? I'm going to continue to cut the promo. Jake, we're coming. I know that Goosebumps Crew has a good shot for Podcast of the Year, but I'm coming for Podcast of the Year. I could use another one of these. But just look at the quality of this is amazing. Like, it's smooth.
Show them the wood on the back too.
Like it's wood on the back. It's wood on the back.
It's solid.
It has these neat little like holes so you can hang it up on your wall. I want to put it up there on my wall. But I have a temporary green screen up there now. I'm gonna get a better screen I can hang it from. But it looks great. It's great quality. They all look great. Jake has a belt, which I also believe would look great on my wall. That I'm gonna find a way to come for. But you could order your own one of these just for fun. They look cool on a wall. And again, it's just excellent quality. So trophysmack.com. I really hope that's not backwards on the stream. And for those of you who listen on Spotify, I'm holding up a sick-looking trophy. Go watch the YouTube video that I eventually make of this to see what it looks like, because it looks friggin' sweet. Thanks for sending this to us, Jake. It's honestly sick. So trophysmack.com. Go to them. You could have one of these. They're pretty sweet. I'm gonna find a way to get it hung up. Anyway, it's gonna have to go over here for now. On with the show, Jordan.
On with the show. This is it.
So, like, this episode, this week, maybe it's high concept, I don't know, but this week was mostly a free choice. That was the topic. And what that meant was, for the have-not seens, I told Jordan he didn't get a choice, and he had to watch 2 movies that I picked. And so in order to allow that, I had to give up choice for mine. But for the ones we had seen, we were allowed to pick what we wanted, but there had to be a theme. You had to go with a theme. So before we jump into rapid fire, Jordan, what is your theme? What is your theme? I don't know why I ended that same question like that.
My theme is based on a book. So all of my movies were once books.
And so my theme was, these are all movies that we have with the exception of one rapid fire, but for all the ones I selected, they are all movies that we have reviewed in the past or have talked about on camera in the past, because I had such fun making Jordan guess which ones, or guess what he thought of it. And so that's going to be the game today. Jordan, you are going to be tasked with trying to figure out what you said about this movie. But the key is, Jordan, because some of these you've seen, again. I realized, sorry, I actually have 4. I have 4 rapid fires.
That's fine.
You're going to have to guess what you thought of it when you saw it.
Okay.
But not what you think now, but what you thought when you saw it, and then we'll go into if you have any thoughts about it now, and we're going to see how they have changed. So, if
I even remember,
if you indeed even remember, that will also be part of this game. Do you remember what you thought about it? Do you remember the video? Do you remember what we did in the video? Said in the video. That is today's game. For the report. So let's start off with rapid fire, Jordan. What is your first rapid fire?
My first, I only have 3 rapid fires this week. My first one is Holes, Disney's Holes with Shia LaBeouf.
Disney's Holes with Shia LaBeouf. Tired of this, Grandpa.
It's too bad. You keep digging.
It's a shame. It's a shame that completely peaked out and no one will hear that, because I can hear it from the other room, and let me tell you, audience at home, solid impression.
I like the movie. I like the book. I don't remember The book. It's been a while since I've read the
It's been
book
a while.
itself, but I remember it being a fairly faithful adaptation. Um,
Here's what I will say to that. I don't remember. I remember feeling a particular way about it when I first saw it when I was like 13 or 12. I from what I recall, I should have even read the Wikipedia article on the book. But from what I recall, I think the movie sanitizes the book quite a bit. From what I from and people are free to correct me on this one, but I'm pretty sure the movie, because it's Disney bought the rights to it, so I'm pretty sure they like sand down a lot of the like racial implications of all involved in that one. The fact that
I mean, no, it's still pretty bad. They still kill Sam because he's a black man kissing a white woman. So
yeah, but that's because I think they couldn't. That impacts the story. But I mean more to do with like for example, the Mr. Mom or whatever. He's a much nicer in the book and b far more passive aggressive, and I think he's just like straight up racist to Zero. But again, I could be completely misremembering. But I think and there's
I don't remember enough about the book to
and
really
there's
say one
there's
way.
more emphasis placed on the fact that like yeah they're all poor disaffected black kids from like a poor neighborhood. Like I know there's a companion novel about, I want to say, X-Ray, either X-Ray or Armpit, one of the two, and it's from their perspective.
Um, all I know is that in terms of a movie, a kids movie in particular, it's one that I remember watching when I was a kid, and I remember enjoying it
I definitely
and
remember
really
liking it.
liking it.
I mean, the soundtrack is
And
great. The
I
soundtrack is
was
good.
gonna say I love the soundtrack. There's so many
Soundtrack is so
songs on
good.
there that I just really really
I,
dig
I,
to
I
this day.
I do remember that being like Shia LaBeouf. I mean, to be fair, they do some clever like filmmaking, like forced perspective stuff, but to like make him look bigger. But yeah, Shia LaBeouf is too small to be Caveman. That's why he's
I
called
mean,
Caveman. He's Caveman
he's
because he's huge. That's where the nickname's supposed to come from.
he's still in his even Stevens phase where
Yeah,
he's a little he's a thin little guy.
I think
Um,
I think this is like just after like even Stevens is over. So it's like yeah,
if
still in that
I
era.
honestly I'm not sure. It might even be like when it's still doing it for all I know.
Um,
Um, but I don't have much more to say about it. It's a fun movie, and I really like the soundtrack.
fair enough. Fair enough.
And I gotta say, I also think this movie is part of why every time I went to the beach as a kid, I used to dig holes.
No, you know
Like
what? Well, I mean,
I think this movie really made me like digging
well, I can say that the reason
for the
why.
book.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've always been a dig holes kind of guy. And I think that just helped. I think that's maybe why we picked it up. This is one of those ones where a lot of those books are like you get them as novel studies in school and they just stick with you. This one I read all on
Yeah.
my own. I don't even know what made me pick it up. I just
Because
realized.
I have vivid memories of like being like going to the beach and like wanting to dig a hole as deep as the one they dug in holes, and it just wasn't possible for like what my age was at the
There we
time.
go. That's better. I'm like something looks off with my camera this week. Oh, I forgot to put on my light, and I am now being blinded. What else do you have to say about
Um,
holes, Jordan?
that
Oh, the other memory I have
I
about
wanna
holes.
I wanna go dig a hole.
My other memory of holes is the song. If only the woodpecker sighs. I remember
Yeah,
trying to figure out the name of that song, the full one, the one that plays at the end of the credits. I remember
yeah.
I rewound that little section where the songs are like 1,000 times to try to figure out what the name is of that song, and it was one of those ones that it was written for the movie, and that used to be hard to find. It was like, oh yeah, if it's like a well-known top 40 chart one, it's nice and easy. But oh no, this is written specifically for this movie. Pirating this is gonna be hard.
Yeah, yeah.
um. Anyway,
But that's all I have to say about holes. What's your first pick?
so before we jump into this week's game, I have to talk about Scott Pilgrim for reasons that will become apparent later. Um, I have to talk about Scott Pilgrim, and it was one of those times. This is one of those moments where watching a movie to enjoy it, and watching a movie that's going to be kind of a theme this week, and watching a movie to criticize it or say something about it are two entirely different experiences. Number one, Scott is a bad person. Um, I don't think Michael Cera is charismatic enough for it to be believable for him to have dated the women he has. Like
Okay. Okay.
that's
I, I'm I'm not gonna disagree with that right off the bat, but show your work.
I just don't I just he just is very flat. He's a very flat character, and his the way he's performing, he's not like Knives is kind of a happy go lucky like easygoing kind of person. So I just don't believe that she would have found Scott all that interesting. And the same thing with Ramona, like their coupling just doesn't work. Like she number one is very dull. Like she's just unplugged. There's nothing. They're both kind of flat characters. Like they're just both there's no energy or like all of her line delivery is just flat and boring and like she doesn't seem to be like neither of them seem he seems more obsessed than he is in love and she doesn't seem all that interested in him.
I mean, in that movie in particular, I would definitely say yes. I would agree with that assessment.
It's what I noticed this time more than anything.
It kind of in the movie comes across like he's obsessed with her and she likes the attention.
Kinda, yeah. And like there's a lot of like there's a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, I don't remember the books well enough. Maybe this was better explored in the books. Like there's a lot of moments where it's like I'm gonna kind of skip around here, because I need to kind of get into depth on this one. This is gonna be a rare in-depth rapid fire because I kind of have to peel this one apart to get to my overall point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
get to my point about the other thing. Um,
About later, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this movie I felt it underexplores characters, but then it achieves character arcs. So like at the end, to jump ahead to the end, Gideon is like, "Oh, you're not better than me," or "You're not the better one. I'm the better one. Look at all the stuff I've accomplished." But he doesn't have. That's the first time we're meeting him. We've never seen. So why does he feel inadequate compared to Scott Pilgrim when we've never seen him? Or
Because
when
he had Ramona.
right, but again, it feels like you never see Gideon with Ramona, so you don't. It just he treats her like a possession, but the dialogue indicates that it's some sort of he like it's some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Um, shit.
Obsession.
Not obsession. When you're insecure, like it was an insecurity he had, but we've never seen him demonstrate that insecurity before. So that's where I'm like, oh, maybe in the comic books, Gideon is in a few issues, and we really get to know this character. Maybe it's just something that, like, there's a lot of moments where it's like, oh, this feels like this might be a reference to a moment in the comic that I just don't get. Like, the bit where she's getting the tea and she just reads all of the tea for no reason. We have
Yeah.
Why does she do that? Like it feels like it's a bit. It feels like this is I'm supposed to get this. Like this is a reference to the comic where she does this exact thing. Um,
I'm guessing that in the comics, like she
right?
she loves
Um,
tea.
and a
Like
big
there's probably in the comics, you know how in some comics like they have like a picture of the character on the side, or like in
yeah.
Scott Pilgrim in particular, it then has like all the information below her where it's like Ramona Flowers 26
Yeah,
da
I
da
know
da da,
exactly what
and
you mean.
it probably has like a special note or special power or special interest or whatever.
Yeah,
She's obsessed with tea. And so
exactly.
then when you see her in the movie and she labels off all the teas, that's probably a callback to something of that nature.
Exactly. And then it's weird because it references rules that it's never established. So like and that was kind of a big thing with me with again we're going to get there, but it never explains like okay, so does everyone in that universe just turn into coins when they die? Like is that a thing? Like why do these
O-
characters seemingly have
only if they're defeated in battle, Justin.
right,
If
so
they just die of natural causes, the corpse clearly remains.
but okay, but then it's like why do they all have superpowers? Like it's never and the only reason why this stuff matters or you're asking is because this movie is in the real world. Well, it takes place in live action, so your brain fills in that it's supposed to take place in the real world, right? So you're like, well, wait, so they could just pull out magic swords and hammers and like, and then when he fights the girl X, she's like, oh, he has to beat me. It's official league
It's the
rules,
rules.
right? But we've never what rules? What are you talking about? Like, so each
The
battle is
the
an
rules
official league battle. Like, what is an
the
official
rules
league
of
battle?
the rules of the league that he didn't read through when he was like, this is boring. That's where all the rules were.
Was it? See, but the movie doesn't really. Again,
Well, like when he shows up to fight, Matthew Patel shows up to fight, and he's like, "Did you get my email where I explained all this?"
right? Well,
And Scott Pilgrim is like, "I skimmed it."
all that really gives you is that he said that I'm part of this evil league and I'm going to come fight you. It never really indicates that there was some sort of league rules. Or what I'm saying is, I'm sure in the
I mean,
book,
we have no idea what was in that email. Scott
um,
Pilgrim didn't read it.
I'm sure in the comics maybe there's more, or at least I was curious, like in the comics, yeah, is there more detail put into this? Because that's my big thing, is a lot of the mechanics and the rules of this universe are unexplained and or
So
underexplained.
did you go and look it up?
Couldn't be bothered. So yeah, like just like another example, at the end, Negascott shows up and he just kind of walks off, and you're like, wait, so does he just exist in that world now? Is there just a version of Scott that's shadowy and just looks like Scott and is more or less the same? Like the movie doesn't explain any of this, and it wants to be a cartoon, but because it's a live action, it just doesn't, it's just not working. That and the notion of him dating a 17-year-old is weird, and this franchise,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, this franchise never addresses it. It doesn't understand that it's weird. It will get there.
Well,
We'll get there. We'll get there. But
it
that's,
yeah.
I still,
You know,
to be fair,
it kind of does, but not in a satisfying way.
no, absolutely not. But no, I still like this movie. It's still fun. The song that the girlfriend's band sings is an absolute banger. I forget what it's actually called.
Yeah. Again. Friend
Friend
of
of
a
a
friend.
friend. I also learned that the
Da-da, da-da, dur, 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 dur.
yeah, I think Brie Larson,
The Clash.
the
The Clash
Clash
of Demon Head.
Clash of Demon. Yeah, I think Brie Larson sings the original. I'm pretty sure she sings the original. She does not sing in the new one, by the way.
Huh.
Yeah, I thought.
Okay.
What I learned from this one is I learned that the guy who plays Steven Stills, he actually sings the songs. Like, he's actually singing.
Really?
Yeah, they're all actually playing their instruments.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that. I said, well, I think they're playing their. I know he sings. I definitely know he's singing because I looked it up because
Interesting.
we'll get there. Anyway, that was Scott Pilgrim. What's your next one?
My next one is the BFG. The Big
Oh,
Friendly
that
Giant.
movie was bad to forgettable. I know I've seen it. I don't remember anything about it.
I mean, I liked it. I watched the modern one, the new, like
Yeah, I've seen that one. I don't remember it being very. I remember being all right.
It's yeah. I mean, it's not like anything groundbreaking
No,
or anything. But if you like the book and you like the story, it's fairly accurate to
I've
the story,
never
and
read the book.
I have
Really?
when I was a kid.
Oh, I've never read it.
I haven't in years,
I
but
generally
yeah,
speaking
no, I did.
don't like Roald Dahl books. They're just not. I didn't like them as a kid. They were really dry for some reason.
Then you're not gonna like this pick or the next pick. But anyway, yeah, I watched the BFG, which is it's cute. There's giants. They eat children. The queen shows up and saves the day. God bless the queen.
God bless
Um, um, the person that plays the BFG or the animation on it or whatever, the entire time I'm watching it, it reminded me of someone, and I could never figure out who it was or place it, but it was driving me crazy the entire time. But yeah, no, I mean, again, it's a children's movie. It's I didn't really plan this to be a theme, but it kind of ended up being a theme for my rapid fire this week. Um, on top of being, based on books. But Roald Dahl has a style, and you either like it or you don't.
Pretty
And in
much.
this case, I like this one.
Fair. Fair. Not much
That's
to
really
say on
all I
that
have
one.
to say about that. He's a giant who's not really a giant compared to the other giants. He's fairly
He's
runty.
one of the roots.
He collects dreams. He's a giant.
Fair. I don't have strong feelings about Big Friendly Giant.
That's all I got. He's just a giant,
All right. Okay, Jordan.
and he's big, and he's friendly. And I mean, big is relative, compared to the small child that he rescues and everything. He's a giant, but compared to the other giants, he's really not that much of a giant. So really, it just depends on your perspective.
Okay.
Also, there's fart jokes.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. All you had to say about the big friendly giant, Jordan?
I do think it's funny that in it, the drink that he brings from the giant country that makes them fart with the bubbles that go down, and like they keep commenting on how our bubbles go up, and you can actually get a drink where the bubbles do go down, and I think it has nitrous in it
Huh?
or something like that. I remember my dad showing me videos
Huh?
that had that, like it had that in it. It had some kind of gas in it, and you had some kind of gas to it. It was a beer, I believe it was, that they made
Huh?
where the bubbles go down instead of
Interesting.
up, and I
Interesting.
think it was green.
Interesting.
Um, Now I'm gonna after this, I'm gonna go and look it up, see if I can find a video of that to show you. But yeah, no, I seem to remember that being a thing.
All right. Well, all right.
Anyways, that's the BFG.
That is indeed the BFG. So, Jordan, we begin our game, Jordan. We begin our game with our very first rapid fire of the ones we have reviewed in the past.
Okay, so I've seen this,
You have absolutely seen this movie.
and
Jordan,
I've spoken on this.
absolutely you have. Well, spoken on it is relative, but you've definitely seen it. It's called State of Play,
Okay,
Jordan. Would you like to take a guess, Jordan, what you thought of this movie?
give me the summary of it first.
So, okay, Russell Crowe, he's a newspaper guy, and Ben Affleck, he's a congressman, and Ben Affleck is investigating a defense contractor mercenary group with one of his committees, and one of his lead researcher gets killed. And oh no, it turns out Ben Affleck was sleeping with her, and there's a whole conspiracy involving who killed the girlfriend. It sure. Okay, let's do it this
Okay,
way.
okay. I'm ready to make my guess on what my thoughts might have been.
Got it.
Um, I'm guessing my thoughts were, it was fine. I didn't really, I either really did or really didn't like the twist. I can't decide because I don't know what it is. Um, but I either had strong feelings one way or the other about twists because I'm gonna guess I didn't like it because I generally don't like twists in movies, especially back then. Um, but I'm gonna guess that performance-wise, I thought they did okay, and didn't really have strong feelings because that was a lot of my feelings about these movies that you dragged me to back in the day.
So, here's a theme with a lot of our early reviews, Jordan. You had a hard time focusing. And so a lot of them just evolved to me to you doing just like hitting each other, just like a lot. We hit each other a lot. And so many of them, we don't really get much of a review out beyond
I mean,
basically summarizing the thing and
clearly
referencing
that's why
a couple
we
of scenes in it. No actual
clearly
criticism is made.
clearly that's why we doing this podcast are in different rooms, is because then that distraction is not there.
I guess I don't know, but I'm gonna spoil it. There is another twist at the end. Our comments were on the main big twist, which if you haven't seen this movie, I'm gonna spoil it. It's like like a 20-year-old movie. Get over yourself. No, I'm kidding. But um yeah, okay. So how to do this concisely? So Ben Affleck, senator. Um, who do you think did it, Jordan? There's an evil corporation who's in charge of who wants government spending. Who do you think killed the girl?
FBI.
Again, you're an evil corporation. There's a girl who's uncovering the evil corporation's secrets.
CIA.
I mean, it's the evil corporation, Jordan. Don't be stupid.
The American government.
It's the evil corporation.
The President of the United States.
And so the twist, Jordan,
When he did it, it wasn't a crime.
Jordan, the twist turns out that the girl who the senator was Ben Affleck was sleeping with, turns out that she was actually working for the evil corporation, and she was spying on the senator for the evil corporation. And so Ben Affleck finds out that she's spying, and sends a former like soldier that used to like be soldier with him, and he kills her. And it turns out that Ben Affleck killed her the whole time, and we were kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a dumb twist. That was the big thing. Ah, it was kind of a dumb twist.
It does sound like kind of a dumb twist.
It's like, oh, the evil corporation got off scot-free, which no, they don't, because at the end of the movie, Russell Crowe writes the article that basically says that they're the reason why these people died. But like the senator still said it. Anyway, it's just a really dull political thriller that doesn't have a very interesting twist, and is very forgettable. Clearly, because I remembered one scene from that movie, and it was the bit at the beginning where Russell Crowe sings "The Night That Patty Murphy Died."
How old were we when we in the video where we reviewed?
Came out in 2009.
Oh, no wonder I didn't like it.
Yeah,
there was no way this was gonna hold my interest when I was like, what was 18, 19?
18? Yeah, no, there was no 18? way. I know. I was just surprised.
There's no way.
Why did we watch this? There's so many, and then there's one bit where I like whisper something into your ear. I don't know what I said, but you go, oh, and like I don't even know what I said. I don't know what possessed it. Beyond just needing something to watch because we were doing a show. I don't know what. Surely there had to be something we had. Like it's funny. It was like when we used to do that show. It'd be like, yeah, maybe watch something you'll have something to say about instead of just watching anything.
Right. We've sort of learned that over the years.
Yeah. Like there's an episode where we watched Jackass, where we talked about Jackass for exactly like 2 minutes because we're like, what do you say about Jackass? But yeah, anyway. That's how boring this movie was. We started talking about Jackass. That was State of Play. It was all right.
So, the last one that I watched was also apparently a Roald Dahl book. It's James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, yeah, James and the... That movie's upsetting.
I did not watch that or read that book, so I can't speak to how accurate it is to the book. But it's a weird movie.
It's so weird.
Like, he gets these magic things which make the peach come and be giant, and all the bugs and stuff are giant, and then goes on a trip which and his parents die to a rhino.
Yeah,
which like I thought that it was going to be like, the rhino wasn't real, and like it was a metaphor for some tragedy that took his parents.
Oh, I thought it was the evil ants who killed him.
Then like they say it's a rhino.
But I thought the rhino was a metaphor for like the ants being evil.
I mean, if it is, then in the movie they don't really implicitly say that.
Oh.
It's just a rhino. And like when they get to New York, there's the clouds which are coming after them, which take the shape of a rhino, and he's like, "Oh, yes," in his British accent because he's British. And like I thought it was going to be like, because it's been years since I had seen this, and I honestly didn't remember like pretty much anything about it. And I thought it was going to be like the bugs weren't actually giant or real.
No, you see them
and
at
like
the end.
It was just, but you see them at the end, and all the adults see them, and like he lives the rest of his life with them as a family, and it's like, no, those were actually real, and I
remember that the movie
this
can't
movie
decide.
This movie is weird.
I do remember that about that one, where it can't decide if it's like happening in its head or if it's real or what is real. And it's like it's because it goes from live action to and if this was just all animated, you wouldn't have this weird reality like disconnect that this movie has.
Yeah. But
very
it's
strange,
like
very, very strange.
It's one that like I remember watching a lot as a kid. Like we had it on VHS. And
we did, yeah.
and I remember watching it a lot, and watching it now as an adult, I don't know what we liked about it.
I don't remember liking it. I don't remember liking that movie. I remember thinking it was weird and gross and creepy, and not liking it.
I don't
remember ever liking that movie.
I mean, I do. I remember watching it a lot.
No. So you made a differentiate. I remember watching it a lot. I don't remember ever liking it. I remember it being gross and weird, not liking it.
But we must have, because otherwise, why would we have watched it a lot?
You might have liked it. I never did. I can remember very much never liking that movie. Like never.
All I know is that as an adult, I don't get it. It's a strange one.
That era where we're like, we need to make children's movies slightly upsetting.
That's my that's all my rapid fires for this week. I just don't have a lot to say about them. They were based on books.
Yep, they were based on books. Okay, I've got two more. We'll do 17 again, and then my last one I don't have a whole ton. 17 again, I got a bit more. Jordan, would you like to know what we thought about 17 again, Jordan?
I think we liked it.
So I didn't. I
That's
didn't.
gonna be my that's gonna be my preliminary guess. I think my preliminary guess is we were like, yeah, it's good, even though it has Zac Efron on it, because it was that period of time where it was embarrassing to admit that you liked anything that had Zac Efron in it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, you're
and
close.
and
You're close.
and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna guess that R slash my opinion was like, yeah, it was surprisingly good considering it had Zac Efron in it.
Okay. Okay, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna say you're. I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna say you're right. But for bonus points, why would we be embarrassed to have liked a thing with Zac Efron in it?
I mean, because at the time it was embarrassing to admit that you liked
Right.
High
Right.
School
Right.
Musical.
But there was a reason for that as a guy. Why would you be embarrassed at such a thing? I'll lead you to it because it would make you
I mean, I don't want to say it. Gay. People would think that you were gay.
yes, and that it was at that period of time where that was a bad thing. Um,
I don't want to. I don't want to admit to that, but that's terrible, and it makes me feel bad that our generation were like that. No, that was a terrible stigma, and it was
right?
bad and
And so
immature.
we were very wrong. That's one of those reviews we were very wrong about. And we said, yeah, we showed up for Matthew. It was very ironic. We're like, we showed up for Matthew Perry, not for Zac Efron. And Zac Efron's pretty good in this movie. He does not approximate Matthew Perry very well. I know we used to say that he does, but he doesn't really. Not like my sort
I
of
mean, no, not really, but it's still fun. It's one of those ones where it's like he doesn't, but it's fun to see him try.
and like him like what was it when he becomes a teenager, does he just become stupid? Like it's really annoying that he constantly is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say things that hint that I'm gonna say weird uncomfortable things that only your dad could get away with saying, not some guy you just met yesterday. Like
I like to think
there's
I
a
like
lot
to
of
my head
moments like that
canon.
where you're like, come on man, be smarter.
My my head canon is that yeah, when he became a teenager, hormones were a thing and they were affecting his
Mm.
thoughts.
But it's also one of those movies where um
Because I mean, it definitely made him more interested in his wife again.
well here's the
Wink.
thing, right? So this movie comes across as a movie that was this is the fourth or fifth version of this script, and it's been rewritten a few times because there's elements of it that contradict themselves. Like it seems like at one point this movie was about him going back in time because like the whole premise of it, the whole idea of it, the janitor, and the him how he turns into Zac Efron seem to be from a different movie because they never explain what the deal is with the janitor. They don't explain who he is, what he is, where he is, where he comes from. What is he, a ghost? Is he magic? Is he science? What is he? Why? How come he can turn? And he implies that Matthew Perry is not the first one who he's put through this experience. Like, how is he doing this? It's not so. And when he first turns into Zac Efron, he goes through a magic portal, right? And then when he turns back into Matthew Perry at the end, he doesn't go through a magic portal. So it seems like him going through a magic portal was initially a plot point that was from a previous version of the script. And when they rewrote it, they were like, it's fine.
I could believe that.
Like there's a lot that it's weird. Like there's a lot of talk in the early bits about going back, and he doesn't go back, right? And modern, it's weird
He
because I'm
goes
like,
back.
it's
He goes back to school.
yeah, I get, but yeah, that's where I'm like, it feels like this was rewritten, and they went, well, that's technically going back. Like there's a lot of stuff. The second half of the movie is like there's certain elements of the mechanics of how the transformation itself works that seems to be from a different movie. Like it seems to me like at one point this movie was he goes back and then young version of him swaps and Matthew Perry is in this movie more. Like it feels like there's a version of
I I could believe that.
And I think that would maybe kind of be I don't say I want to say a better movie, but certainly an interesting one. Because it's weird because
It would be a very different movie, that's for sure.
there's a lot of characterization given to Zac Efron when he's young that doesn't really go anywhere or is never really fully explained. Like, um, the him being why is he friends with Thomas Lennon's character? How is he friends with him? That doesn't make any sense.
Because he was the bat boy or the water boy on the team, and that's
Right,
where
but
they met.
that for opening scene, that's not where they met. They've been friends since they were like 2. They say later on in the movie, we've been friends since we were 2. Um,
Well, then that's how
and
they
the
met.
reason why he's the bat boy or the water boy is because he's friends with Zac Efron. Right, but it feels like there was a version of this movie where we saw that character more. Like there's a lot of references to this character that feels like it's gonna pay off later that just doesn't. So that's where I'm like, this feels like again a second or third draft of a different version of this movie. Um,
I mean, that is how Hollywood works.
yeah,
I
but
could
sometimes it's
absolutely
more.
believe it.
Sometimes maybe it's because I just notice these things now more, but sometimes it's just more obvious than others. Also,
I didn't really notice it in this one, quite honestly.
I didn't at first, but now that we do this and I watch these movies to pick them apart, um, I did notice it this time. Also, yeah, we didn't give enough credit. All of our shit went to fucking Matthew Perry. We didn't give Zac Efron is really good in this movie. One of his, in my opinion, the thing that will forever make it go Zac Efron is a good actor, is he's got a monologue in this movie that is kind of incredible. It's that one
With the
where
with the bully and the basketball.
with the bully and the basketball. That monologue is phenomenal. Not only because it's just a good monologue, not only because Zac Efron's comedic timing in it is stellar, but the fact that he's doing all of it while manipulating the basketball. I couldn't. I tried to look up to see if he. I'm guessing he did that. Like he learned to do that.
Well, I mean,
He
I
would
know
have
that
had to, I assume.
I know that in High School Musical 1, like all the basketball stuff that they did.
Yeah, I know.
So
I've seen
like
an
he would
interview.
he would probably absolutely have already been capable of doing that.
Or,
So
or
I believe he did
certainly
it.
he would have enough of a foundation that he could practice to get to be able to do that for one scene.
Yeah, like
Certainly,
I
yeah.
believe he could have.
Mhm. But yeah, well, it's one of those things where he might have just like again learned it just for the one scene. But it's still impressive. Like I don't think like they faked it with CGI or like you can't. There's no way to fake it with a stunt double. I don't think.
I honestly don't know.
Although
Not
I
back
will
then,
say,
I don't think.
speaking of stunt doubles, there's a really funny bit where they're going to the court, um, where they're going to the court, and they're driving in Thomas Lennon's car, and he it's clearly a stunt driver because they're weaving in and out of traffic, and it's like yeah, neither Zac Efron or Thomas Lennon are in that car. um,
Fair enough.
But lastly, and then I'll real quickly do Ghost of Girlfriend's Past. Funny, a funny,
Oh, I think I remember that one.
a funny bit. The funniest thing about that movie for me is how, Thomas Lennon's character, he shows up at the beginning of the movie and he's like tiny and small and like nerdy, and he's like he's wearing a wizard's robe or something. And yeah, him as an adult, he's a super nerd or whatever. And I love the implication that he not so much implication, but he became successful. Like he's super rich, he's super wealthy, he owns the mansion, and Zac Efron, who is the high school basketball star and is the popular guy in high school, doesn't. And I think that's kind of interesting. Of like, yeah, those guys typically they don't go places. Like when he's like,
yeah, he peaked.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, it feels like there's like there's a bit where he's like, oh, I get Stan, I was Stan. Kind of that's kind of but they seem to be implying that.
Yeah, it feels
but
like there might have been like a scene or two where where like you had more of him as a young man instead of having, for example, him be at the party with his daughter.
Yeah, that was weird. But yeah, like that's my thing is like it's implied like he wasn't. Like Zac Efron's character at the beginning of that movie is he's just super nice. He's just a super nice kid.
Yeah. But he was also on the basketball team, so he definitely knew someone like him.
Sure, but it feels like there's again a version of this movie where yeah, it's about Zac Efron or Matthew Perry gets teleported into the body of his like hot tub time machine style, gets teleported into the body of his 17-year-old self, and it's about him literally going back to high school and having to decide to like, and that because that scene at the end where it's like he's like, oh, where it's like he chases after the wife, that feels like that scene was in the thing where it's him at the beginning again, and he decides to go, he has an opportunity to change the future or like have it go on to the past, and he changes the future, and then you see him in the future again and he's now happy or whatever. Like it feels like the plot involved time travel, because again there's a lot of
it would be interesting to me to look up and see when Hot Tub Time Machine came out and when this movie came out, and how close it was. Because yeah, it could be a thing where Hot Tub Time Machine influenced this movie and it caused them to go back and change things.
I think Hot Time Time Machine I think came out after. Hold on, let's see. Oh yeah, no, 17 again comes first.
Okay. Yeah,
so, I mean, it could just be a thing that they were like, oh, the lesson he needs to learn about his family is better served when it's him in the present day. Because it's so weird. It's not a body swap movie, but it acts like it's a body swap movie. Like it's
a body transformation movie, technically.
Yeah, technically, yeah, it's very weird. And then Ghost of Girlfriend's Past. Jordan, what do you think we thought about Ghost of Girlfriend's Past?
So that one, the main character, who plays the main character? Because that's going to impact.
That would be Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, so it wasn't Ryan Reynolds. Then I'm gonna think that we thought that it was fine for a romantic comedy, and that was kind of just our opinion, was that it was fine.
Yeah, man, you're pretty much nailing it this week, man. For however much you didn't nail it last week, you were nailing. Jordan, did you cheat? Did you go back and watch these so that you can?
No, unfortunately, I didn't have time to do that. I had to do my own. I just know myself. I know myself well enough, and I remember these movies.
That was another one where we couldn't focus. I think we talked about. Okay, first of all, maybe I'll talk about it next week. But we said some just wrong things about X-Men Origins Wolverine. They're just not even like, oh, that was our. No, they were just wrong. We were wrong. We said very incorrect things. Like it was a good movie. We were wrong. We were young. We were naive.
Did I miss a week? Are we doing X-Men already? I thought we were talking about Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
No, coincidentally, the video was a double feature of Ghost of Girlfriend's Past and Wolverine Origins. So we talked about Ghost of Girlfriend's Past for exactly 2 minutes, and the rest of the video is just us talking about how good Wolverine X-Men Origins Wolverine is. Which I think now means I've locked myself into talking about that movie next week.
What? We said it was good?
I called it epic sex, Jordan. I mean epicness. That was the joke I used. Am I gonna have to? I'm watching X-Men Wolverine Origins for next week now, aren't I?
Oh, one of us has to. That's for sure.
I guess I am. But anyway, on to Ghost Girlfriend's Past. Yes, we very much said that it was it was a pretty by the number. Well, we didn't use the word by the numbers romantic comedy, but it's a fairly by the numbers romantic comedy. It's fine. We referenced one scene which was funny, which is true. There's like one scene which is kind of funny where he like knocks over the cake accidentally for some reason, and he's trying to like put the cake back up. It's pretty funny. Michael Douglas is all right in it. I will commend it for attempting to take a story idea like a Christmas Carol and doing something different with it. Remarkably, it has nothing to do with Christmas. I think it came around during Christmas, which is why we thought it did, but it absolutely has nothing to do with Christmas.
Interesting.
And it is otherwise fine. It's a fine movie. It's from that era, like right where Matthew McConaughey is still doing shitty romantic comedies, but before we took him seriously as an actor, kind of in that sweet spot, like right before he does Dallas Buyers Club. It's like right there. So yeah,
it's one of those ones where it's like I remember us watching it, and if it's the one I'm thinking of, I remember thinking it was fine.
Very much another
Nothing
one of those.
Special.
We watched it for content, kind of movies. There's a lot of these where we just kind of watch them for content. Sometimes we watch them for fun because they looked good, but most days it was for content. So we'd have two movies because we were like, you can't just do one, a lesson we carry forward to this very podcast.
I mean, to be fair,
those reviews are the
movies were
granddaddy.
movies were also cheaper back then.
I mean, they were free.
That's what I mean. They're cheaper.
They were free back then. But anyway, that's my last two rapid fires. That's the end of rapid fire. Jordan, on to main report. Jordan, fly into the danger zone.
Danger zone.
Danger zone. That's the theme. That's the theme for full report.
Da, da, da,
And then stop.
da, da, da.
There you guys stop. Danger zone. There we go. We did.
Danger zone.
Danger zone. What is your first full report, Jordan?
So my first full report is 2 movies because I'm lumping them together. I did Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets.
Okay. Now before we really get into this, okay, I have to do this, Jordan, real quick. I was maybe gonna do it midway, but you know what? Let's just do it off top. I need to, Jordan, if you're familiar with professional wrestling, I need to cut a professional wrestling style promo. I'm gonna look right into this camera right here. I'm not actually. I'm gonna look right into my own face, right there, and I'm gonna call out right now. I'm gonna call out Jake, our podcast boss, Jake. I'm gonna cut a professional wrestling style promo. I'm gonna call him out, and I'm gonna say, Jake, you've proven in the past that you can sit down and have a civil discussion and disagreement, and I'd like to call you out right now because I know that you disagree with me that J.K. Rowling is a bad writer and the Harry Potter books are badly written books. I stand by that. I believe that the Harry Potter books are badly written books, and I intend to demonstrate that right now to you today. And right now, I'd like to call you out. I'd like to do a debate, me and you. I'd like you to try and convince me why these are well-written books, and I'd like to attempt to convince you that they're badly written books. So really, Jake, the question is this going to be in my town or your town? Because you're welcome to come here, and I'll go there. We could do this thing. We can have a polite and respectful discussion about Harry Potter, and it can have nuance in it. Let's do it. Calling you out. Jake. Jake versus Justin, and Jordan might also be there.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
I've thrown down the gauntlet.
Will he accept the challenge? Tune in next time to find out when.
Will Jake accept the challenge to a friendly and respectful conversation about a nuanced conversation about Harry Potter?
A respectful and frank, polite discussion, a very Canadian discussion, if you will, about this topic.
And again, your town or my town, Jake. It's up to you. Anyway, let's talk about Harry Potter.
So yeah, I watched the first 2. So those are primarily the ones that we're gonna focus on. I know there's like 17 of them, and maybe one day we'll come back and we'll do the rest of them.
Yep.
But today we're gonna focus just on the first 2. I like them.
They're my favorite Harry Potter movies. I think I maintain they're the best ones.
In spite of the shadowing negativity that comes from their creator, yes. I still enjoy these 2 movies.
Look, it's hard to I mean, they're not so much baked into the movies, but it's hard when it comes to the books. It's hard not to acknowledge that yes, a lot of that woman's prejudices are baked into the cake that is those movies. I'm sorry, those books. They are. When someone points them out to you, you can't help it. But yeah, the movies, for example, don't go out of their way to tell you how the Dursleys are awful because they're fat. Like clearly, J.K. Rowling was victimized by a fat person. Like that's my only. He had a bad boss who was overweight. That's always been my theory.
Or something like that, or a publisher.
Yeah. One of the publishers who rejected her books was an overweight person, and that's why she hates them so much.
But the movies, though, I mean, I like the first 2. I think they have the better Dumbledore, personally.
I mean, I saw someone say that there's never really been a truly good Dumbledore because, and I don't necessarily agree with this. This is going to be an instance of
that person's wrong.
Also,
and it's in the first 2 movies.
We will not summarize these movies or books. If you haven't read Harry Potter, go pick up a book. Go pick up a book.
No, we're not. We're not doing a beat by beat thing. Absolutely here. Not. Absolutely people know what these movies are. I don't need to do that. Who has the time?
This is mostly going to be a general discussion.
I mean, who doesn't know Harry Potter? Jesus, I didn't even think that needed to be said. I'm ashamed of you for thinking that the audience didn't pick up on that.
Look. All right. Sometimes you got to be clear. Now,
Follow the spiders, Justin.
Why is it
Follow
never?
the spiders, and you will be told what you need to be told.
Why is it never follow the fluffy butterflies? Why is it never?
Because the butterflies don't know what the hell they're talking about.
That is true. That is true. They don't know what they're talking.
But yeah, no, I like the Dumbledore in this one better than the
Oh, that was my
ones
point. I was
with
gonna say this is purely
Gandon or
me.
whatever.
This is purely me playing devil's advocate because I tend to agree. I like the first Dumbledore better, but I've heard it said that the original Dumbledore is also not great because he's kind of how did he called him Sleepy Dumbledore. Like he's just kind of like he doesn't have the like energy or like the high intensity that Dumbledore
Sure,
has in those like he's like
but the
I don't think he could have done the later stuff that the character has to do.
maybe, but the other guy goes too far in the other direction and is aggressive and
Because
not.
technically
He
speaking,
doesn't.
I
He doesn't
believe
have the. He doesn't have that wise calmness that
because
Dumbledore needs to exude.
I technically speaking I believe Dumbledore at least in the first couple of books he's not an old man. Like that's the whole
He
thing.
is.
No, like he's not like a super like he the reason why he looks old unless I'm confusing him with
He's
another
just. He's
character.
described as like over 200 years old.
Yeah, but
He's old.
that doesn't. But I mean like he's not like an elderly old man. It's like he looks more older because oh maybe I'm confusing him with another character. But didn't he like get aged a bunch in that fight with Grindelwald? Isn't that the whole thing? Isn't that one of the things like he got like super? That's why he's like got a long beard and gray. Like J.K. Rowling like
I
confirmed that or in something or
don't.
something.
I don't think so, but I don't feel confident enough to
But it's also
fully dispute that.
entirely possible I'm thinking of another character in another franchise. Another character who had an epic battle with someone and it turned him into. I am thinking of someone else. I'm thinking
You're
of
thinking. You're thinking of Khadgar from World of
I'm thinking of
Warcraft.
Khadgar from World of Warcraft. Yeah, I am thinking of Khadgar from World of Warcraft.
And
Um,
now that I'm thinking about it,
but
that's
no, yeah,
definitely who you're thinking
um,
of.
uh, uh, there's a guy I follow who he says that yeah, in his opinion, the best, most accurate book version of Dumbledore is still, and you're gonna disagree, but it's still, um, oh my god, why can I never remember his name on the spot? The one from Fantastic Beasts. That where are they? They're in the case. They're probably in the case.
The young Dumbledore.
Yeah, like he's the more the most accurate in terms of like how his
No,
characterization in terms of like not just being like either
I
being way
mean,
too angry or like a feeble, slow old man. I'm not saying I
yeah,
agree, but
okay,
I could see the argument.
maybe I could see the argument, but that's also a young Dumbledore, so that's a different. We're not
Yeah,
talking apples to apples here. We're talking about the older Dumbledore that we know from Harry Potter's time. That's kind of what we have to
I do kind of tend to agree though
work
that
with. And
that there's
of the two that we've got, and maybe in this series that they're supposedly making, maybe we'll finally get the picture perfect Dumbledore that people
maybe
have been waiting for. But of the two that we got, I can only compare the two,
yeah.
and the one in the first two is my Dumbledore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the thing with the I believe, I mean to be fair, they're the shortest books, so it's kind of like, but I believe they also suffer the least adaptationally. Like
Yeah,
because and
I
this
do
is
think it's funny. I do think it's funny how in the movie franchise, Harry Potter
sorry,
does
just
not actually.
ignore me,
Are
keep
you go?
talking.
Are you?
No, I'm still here. I'm just
Uh,
lifting my chair. It's driving me crazy. How loud it
Harry
is. Carry on.
Potter does not actually cast a spell until he does the dueling club and fights against Malfoy.
You know what? You said that, and it blew my fucking mind because I was like, holy shit, that is so
Other
true.
people are around. I'm not. To be fair, I'm not counting like when he does up and like makes the broom go up to him, or like when he accidentally does the spell to get rid of the glass and like the accidental magic doesn't count.
Yeah,
I'm talking like using an actual with his wand spell
yeah,
that has a name that
casting
he
an
is
actual
trying to
spell.
cast.
But
Yeah.
I swear to God, do you not see him trying? Like, does he not cast Wingardium Leviosa in that scene in the classroom? I swear to God, he
No.
did. Man,
No,
that's
that's Hermione. Hermione does Wingardium Leviosa and she
and
raises
then
the feather.
and then Flanagan or whatever sets his eyebrows on fire. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that blew my mind. That's legit. I never even realized that. I was like, holy shit, he's right.
Like people around him do, man.
That's
Also, it bothers me in the second movie. So this is the thing that bothers me. Uh in the third movie, Harry Potter gets in trouble for casting magic outside of school, because they think that in the second book, when Dobby does the cake raising thing, the floaty cake magic, that he
Yeah,
was the one that did it.
but
But in the second movie, when they're in Diagon Alley, Hermione fixes his glasses in Diagon Alley
oh
with magic,
yeah, so she does. But to be fair, they
and
don't do.
doesn't get in shit for it.
To be fair, they also cut out the bit where the Ministry thinks he casted like they think that Dobby casting magic was him. I think they cut that out of the movie. Do they not?
I think they cut that out, but they still bring him to trial and stuff because he does in the third book the Dementors show up and
No,
he
no, no,
does
no. I mean in the second movie. In the second movie, because in the second book, you're right. He gets the letter
well, he
from the
doesn't get
Ministry.
he doesn't get in trouble for in it
He gets a
in the
warning.
second book. I don't believe. Yeah, he gets a
He gets a
warning and he gets
warning.
written off. In
Yeah.
the movie, he doesn't get a
No.
warning for that, but in the third book he still goes to the court and stuff. But
Yeah.
and I think they mention it there.
Yes.
Um,
Well, no, no. He doesn't go to the court in the third. And no, in the third movie, I'm pretty sure they do.
yes, he does. He does go to court.
No, no, not
He
not
does.
the not in the third movie. I think you're thinking of the fifth one. When he uses when he defends the against the Dementors against the defending Dudley.
Was that not the third one?
That was not the third one. The third one does end with him fighting the Dementors, but that's when they're at Hogwarts.
No, yeah, you're right. I am thinking of the fifth one. Wow, that shows you how long it's been since I've seen them.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely the fifth one.
And anyways, then there's the second one, where, he gets the diary and talks to the magic diary and learns the lesson of not talking to magical objects that have sentience.
Right?
Um, and there was something else I was gonna say about that one. Oh yeah, Moaning Myrtle is weird.
She's
She's a
weird.
weird predatory ghost who likes 12-year-old children, even though she's been there for 40 plus something years.
Made all the more weird by the fact that the actress playing her at the time was a grown adult, and Daniel Radcliffe was very much a minor.
Weird. It's a weird scene, and it makes me uncomfortable. Um, and yeah, just generally, I don't care what anyone says. I have a very strong nostalgia. I was 10 years old when the first Harry Potter came out.
11.
Um, and
Yeah, I maintain the first
I
two are the best ones. They're my favorites, certainly. They're my favorite Harry
I
Potter movies.
was the exact audience
Nope.
that they were trying to draw in, and they did. And I have a lot of fond memories of the books. I remember like
What?
the release parties, and I remember, and like I'm not gonna look back on my childhood and be like, just because the author did was a terrible person. Those memories still exist, and they still inform me, and they still.
But.
But
But. Those books
yeah,
are badly written, man. Like, okay, here's what I will say. They are paced badly.
I don't think they're all badly written. I think some of the later ones are,
No, I think the first one's also
but
badly written. The first one, I understand why publishers rejected
I
it.
think
I fully
I
get
think
that.
I think the first one starts off bad, but once the ball starts going,
It's
it's
still
good.
it drags in the middle too, though. I mean, it's less bad. It's less bad than the later ones, but like yeah, it takes for fucking ever for him to get to Hogwarts in that first book. Like considering it's so short, it makes the pacing worse because yeah, like that first chapter. When you remember that this is a book for a 7-year-old and Harry Potter's not in the first chapter, I get why publishers rejected this book. And yeah, the pacing in the books are horrible. Like objectively, I remember and I don't feel like this is a position I've taken retroactively. I thought that the fifth one was a badly written book when it came out contemporarily. I still think it now. It is a badly written book that an editor needed to go over, and that book to me is like to Harry Potter what the prequels are to Star Wars, where somebody didn't have enough courage to tell J.K. Rowling that she needed to cut more than half of that book.
So okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna be the one who defends these books in terms of writing. I'm gonna leave that to the Harry Potter Pro, Harry Potter Negative death match that you and Jake are gonna have. The fight to the death where only one of you walks out of the cage.
No. It's not a fight to the death, Jordan. It's a fight to a firm and respectful handshake at the end.
No, I've decided that's boring, and I want to see the fight to the death because that's going to entertain the audience more. Um, I'm ramping the stakes up in this
At
bitch.
the end of it, one of us will leave the network. No, that's not happening. No, I will not. I said that and I couldn't commit to it.
I do not agree to that.
Yeah.
I mean, no. Joking aside, no. But
That the
no,
seventh one. The seventh one is also horrendously written.
I'm gonna let Jake do more of the defending there. But what I'm gonna say is that yeah, for a number of the books, basically into the fourth and fifth one, um, when I was young, I thought they were very well written and I really enjoyed them. Retroactively, as an adult, I can notice some story choices that I maybe would not choose.
Like by the third book, I don't need you to explain Quidditch to me again. I get it.
But I will say that with the fourth one and definitely the fifth one, even when I was a kid,
yeah, that fifth book is horrid.
I remember thinking they were a bloated mess.
Yeah, they are out. To be fair, I think when I was listening to the audiobooks, I could tell you more.
And yes,
but there are moments in it that are genuinely funny though. Like
I do think that you're right that at that point she had the George Lucas effect where she had too many successes and made too much money for the editors to give her too many notes.
Right? Like this needed more notes. Like and to be fair, the seventh one is also like that. Seventh one, whatever one has the Weasley wedding. The Weasley wedding is one of the most. I keep saying agonizing, but it's so painful. It goes on for fucking ever.
I think that's the seventh.
Pretty sure it's the seventh. And then the seventh is painful because like they have this whole thing with the Horcruxes, and that they're looking for the Horcruxes, and then the book comes to a grinding halt plot wise, so that they can learn about the Deathly Hallows, which is a plot point that's just introduced randomly out of nowhere in the seventh book, and then then it just kind of the book has no ending. She wrote herself into a corner, couldn't figure out how to end it, so the story just kind of stops, and then there's a prologue that nobody likes.
But you have to hold on to that because this isn't a full Harry Potter episode.
No.
We're not talking about the seventh, sixth, fifth. No, we've gone off wildly on a tangent when the focus was supposed to just be the first two, which are solid. Good movies. I enjoy these movies. Is the point?
Watching those movies and I used to very much be one of those people who was like, adaptations need to be 1-to-1. You can't change anything. And those first two books, and by extension movies, when I listened to them recently, that was kind of the moment I was like, I get why they cut stuff. Like, I get why they cut that first chapter. I get why they cut Nick's death day.
Like, I get why they cut that. And I think there are definitely things that can be cut. But when we get to my next pick, which we're going to wrap up Harry Potter here pretty quick, and when we get to my next pick, I'm going to say why I think too many changes are not a good thing.
Also fair. Also completely fair. But with that, we should wrap up.
That's all I have to say about these first two Harry Potter movies until we inevitably do the Harry Potter Bonanza.
Yeah, once again, Jake,
where we do the
come debate me.
Where we do the death battle between you and Jake.
Yep.
The
death
bloody,
battle that is not a death battle.
The bloody, grueling fist fight that you'll somehow do 2 countries apart.
We're gonna do the podcasting equivalent.
I know what we'll do. We'll buy you both a shock collar that you'll wear, and I'll be the moderator. And every time I think one of you has won a point, we'll shock both. If someone on Jake's end will shock Jake, and I'll shock you.
We'll do the podcasting equivalent of one of us will throw the other one off of the top of a podcasting steel cage.
There can be only one.
Like, I don't know who's gonna be Undertaker and who's gonna be Mankind, but one of us will, in this analogy. But if we're gonna do the podcasting equivalent to to a steel cage death match, I think. Um, but no, yeah, no, yeah. I'm calling you out, Jake of Arete Media, Pantheon, podcast boss. Anyway,
So
that
that's
was it.
that's my first half scene. What's your first half scene,
My first
good
half
sir?
scene. I also did a double feature of the Crank movies. I watched both of the Crank movies. Um, Now, for those
Jason
of you,
Statham.
Jason Statham, yeah, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Crank movies, it's about a what's the word I'm looking for? Assassin, mercenary kind of guy who gets poisoned. The first one gets poisoned by a
Flufferfish.
rival gang member, Mexican gang member guy, and he gives him what they refer to as the Chinese shit, which makes your heart beat so fast that it will eventually explode. And the only way to prevent it from happening is to keep your adrenaline up. So the first movie is, these movies generally are just kind of one long roller coaster ride of like him doing utterly insane shit to like keep his adrenaline rate up, and it's him killing a bunch of gangsters, and it's like super fun, and it's got weird celebrity cameos. Like the first one has Chester from Linkin Park in it randomly. He's just like a random junkie that shows up. And Jason
Funny.
Statham is really fun in them. And the most interesting bit about it, there's not much to say about the first one beyond the fact that it's really fun.
I don't really remember the first one. I have more of a fondness for the second one.
Well, yeah, well, we're gonna get to the second one in a second. But the most interesting part about the first one, is that it was originally going to be Johnny Knoxville, and it was written
Really?
for Johnny Knoxville. Yeah, and he couldn't do it for, I can't remember what the reason was, but he couldn't do it, and so they gave it to Jason Statham.
Huh.
Which
Oddly, I could see it.
I can see it, right? Especially when you watch the second one, because there's a lot of like physical stunts and what's really interesting is like Jason Statham did a lot of his own stunts, so that the first one ends with him falling out of the airplane, and so he did that. Like he fought the guy in the airplane on the edge of the airplane. Like he actually did that stunt himself. Yeah, crazy. So it's like when you see like a lot of the stunt work that Jason Statham does in that movie, and then if you've ever seen there's a movie called it's called Action Park, I think, or Action Point, and it's it's Jason.
It's them replicating the Action Park, the actual place that existed. I think I've seen that.
It's pretty good, but Johnny Knoxville did all of his stunts Jackass style in that movie, and so I imagine that Crank would have been something similar to that. And I'm just like, it would have been a whole different movie if it was Johnny Knoxville. I just don't think because part of what makes these movies fun generally is Jason Statham's just kind of, he's so serious, but he has such a great, he's serious but funny. Like it's so hard to explain. So that leads to the second one. So the second one, the first one, it ends with him falling out of the helicopter and dying. And they wanted it made like, it was a stealth hit, made a bunch of money. So the movie studio was like, we want to do a sequel. And so they went to the directors who made the first one and were like, we want to do a sequel. And they were like, how? Like he died. Like
he died. How do you do that?
How do you do it? And so they wrote a script. The studio wrote a script, or got someone to write a script, sent it to the directors, and they were like, this is great. We have to make this. Like we're the only ones who can make this. So they came back. And so the second one is, it starts immediately where the first one left off, and it's him crash landing in a helicopter, out of a helicopter onto the ground, and a bunch of Chinese guys, like, or gangster guys, like scoop him up and take out his heart and attach him to an artificial heart. And so the entire movie is him trying to locate his heart while attached to this artificial heart, which eventually he breaks, and then he discovers that he has to charge the internal battery like every 5 or 10 minutes, otherwise it'll stop and he'll die. And so once again, it's him tracking down this Chinese triad gangster guy all throughout town, and it's him doing weird shit. Like at one point, there's this really gnarly close up of him like hooking himself up to a car battery and like sticking it onto his tongue.
Or rubbing up on the lady.
Yeah, rubbing up with the lady. Like, that's my horse! There's my horse! It's Jason Statham he's like, and so what's funny about this one is because they knew that Jason Statham was, they asked him if he would come back, and he was immediately like, fuck yeah. Like, these movies are so much fun. I fucking love them. Obviously, I'm gonna do this movie. Like, hell yeah. Um, but because they knew he was going to be in it, they could write in a lot of his British sayings. So they wrote in the fact that the character is British in this one. So that's why when he discovers that his heart is gone, he's like, "Where's my strawberry tart?" And he points at his heart. Like that's why he says that, because that's obviously British slang.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then then once again Chester from Linkin Park shows up in the fucking. There's a really funny blooper, which I don't know if I don't know if it's where you can watch it. I don't know if it's in the actual movie itself, where it's him rubbing up against Chester. He's rubbing his arm against him, and Chester can't keep it straight. They both keep laughing because it's just so fucking ridiculous.
I wish they'd make a third one.
Oh, it's so good. But so yeah, so they, and then yeah, initially I didn't like the ending. You know how it ends with them as the two kaiju just bashing against each other. But this time I was like, it's fucking funny. Like, the movie's so fucking funny. It's genuinely very funny. Or the other favorite bit is where he runs into the guys at the park and they've got the dog shot collar, and he's like, "You sick fucks!" You got the, and he puts on. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Shock me! Shock me! Do it! Go! And he just starts barking at him. Ruff, ruff, ruff. It was so good. It's so good. The part randomly where they, two of my favorite characters. He early on runs into this Chinese, because I don't want to get demonetized before I'm monetized, Lady of the Night,
right?
Who's following him around? Who's convinced that Jason Statham is her boyfriend, and like speaks completely broken. Or the guy who's the twin of the guy from the first one, who has full body Tourette's but is driving a motorcycle for some reason. Like, I have full body. Wait, why are you driving this motorcycle? So that the motorcycle crashes.
Good time.
Amy Smart, yeah, the scene at the racetrack, all good shit, all good shit. Yeah, it's one of those movies. It's like the cinematic equivalent of doing just like a pound of drugs. It's just it's apparently it's named after crank, is the slang for drugs. That's pretty much what it's like. It's like doing a bunch of crank, and you get really high. I mean, I've never a bunch of uppers.
I've never done it, but I could imagine that this is what it's like.
And yes, you're right. They absolutely should make Crank 3. Make Crank 3.
I'm just saying.
Like, everyone involved in Crank 3, who making those, like, Jason Statham wants to do it. Like, they all want to do it. I'm just like, what do you do? Because the second one ends with him getting his heart back, and he's all like burnt up. He's all like, he's in bandages and he's all fucked up because he got set on fire. So like, what do you even do for the third
one? I don't know, but I want to see it.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I was thinking about. I'm creative, and even I'm like, I don't know how you escalate number 2. How do you increase the stakes higher than that?
Aliens.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I would just go
bananas. Aliens have been watching him and see that he is essentially superhuman. And they take his brain or something.
Well, that's part
and put it into a machine, and then you have him, but he's like a Terminator.
Well, that's the part of the plot of the second one is the Chinese steal his heart because they're like, you survived our like most deadliest poison, so you have like this super impossibly strong heart, so that's why they steal his heart.
I know, but you're asking how do you escalate it?
I guess you do it. They take his brain.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
They take his brain they take his brain out because they want his body, and so then he has to get his body back.
Oh,
and that's the point.
But then
he's in a robot suit, or he's in they make him into like a RoboCop type like kind of thing, and he wants his body back.
I guess then you could have Jason Statham be the bad guy, and then you have him do voiceover. I don't know. I really truly don't know how you escalate Crank any farther than. But I want it. I don't care. I want it. That's Crank. Crank. It's really fun. If you haven't seen Crank, every person should watch Crank if they're over the age of 18 because it gets slightly pornographic. Anyway, what's your second half scene?
I mean, if that's not a selling point, then I don't know what is. Sorry. Anyway, my second one is, so I watched I experienced a few different versions of this story this week, Justin. But the pick is the 2018 version of A Wrinkle in Time.
So, okay, before you get to what you're going to say about it,
I also listened to the audiobook of it and watched exactly half of the 2003 TV movie version.
So I know your thesis is gonna be that the 2018 movie's bad because they changed a bunch of shit. Um,
Uh,
well, hold on, let me just say, my not in defense of, but to my understanding, that is the point of that movie. Like, I believe the person
well,
who directed it and wrote it, they very much said like the point of that movie was to change the story. Like that was the intent. So anyway, with
so
that in mind,
I wasn't gonna say that it's bad. What I was gonna say is it's an example of it is a reinterpretation,
yes, that's what I've
and
heard.
you either like that or you don't. I don't.
Fair
I don't
enough.
think it serves the story, and I don't think that the changes that they have made. I don't
So
think it benefits the story or serves the story or makes it better or improves it.
so for the
I
sake
think
of,
it's
so I was
I
gonna
think
say,
it's just changes, and I'm gonna go into kind of what the changes
okay,
are.
because I was just gonna
Um,
say, instead of summarize, because everyone knows what A Wrinkle in Time is. We all read it in elementary school. So
um,
what is different? Let's just focus
so
on what is different rather than what's the same.
right. I mean, okay,
Other than the race
ignoring
swapping.
I was gonna say ignoring the very obvious thing, which I don't have a problem with the casting
Not
choices.
in this case, no.
Um, I don't have a problem with the casting choices. I have a problem with the character motivations that they have done with some of the characters.
So are
Um,
all the characters
they
still there? Like Charles Wallace is still there, Calvin is still
uh
there,
all of them except for the twins.
except for the twins.
The
Okay,
the
I can see why you would cut out the twins.
the twins just don't exist in this
I mean, they don't
version.
really serve a
Um,
function in the story. They don't
so
go on the adventure.
right away, well, they do serve a function, but I can also understand why they cut it. Um, I see. Okay, I have to be honest. Um, I might have missed a part of it, but uh, I seem to remember in the beginning of the story, they say that they adopt Charles Wallace in this version.
In the
He's not
movie.
their Yeah, he's not their born son, but I don't. It doesn't say that in the Wikipedia, and I'm not confident enough to lay money on that. I might have misheard that. Anyway, um,
Really? Because that would be dumb. That kind of a major plot character point with his character is that there's a reason why
he's
he is
the
the way he is, and it's because of the dad.
it's because of both of them. Both the mom and the dad are very brilliant scientists.
No, but I mean the
Um,
superpower bit that comes from the dad. That's a plot point in later books.
oh, I wouldn't know that. Um, but
Yes, I think it is.
in the okay, so in the movie right away, the mom and dad are, instead of being like not very well, like subtle secret scientists who nobody really knows, and like they're off the radar. In the movie, they're famous. Like
What?
they're famous, world known scientists, and it's like a big deal when the dad disappears. In the book, and the original in like the original stuff, it's like he works for the government, and like he frequently leaves town to go do jobs for them. So when he like disappears, people think that he left his wife and fucked off and just
Oh,
left,
interesting.
right?
See, my memory of it is, I thought they thought that he was dead.
No, they think that he fucked off and like left his wife basically.
Hmm.
Um, whereas in this version of it, he is a famous scientist who like disappears. And like it's a big mystery and everybody wants to know what happened to him, and it's a like yeah, it's a big deal. Um and like in the movie, he pitches, instead of it being like a thing where him and his wife have been secretly toying with the idea of the Tesseract, and then you find out in the book that he was working for the government and they were like testing it in secret. In the movie, they very openly and publicly pitch the idea that the Tesseract is like traveling on a different wavelength, and it's like a big public spectacle, and it's like very
See, my thing with
public.
the Tesseract is they never, from my recollection, what is? Is it a physical thing that you can use? Like, is it a tool? What?
No,
The book
it's
always describes
essentially
that. That's the thing with adapting this book is everything is always more of an idea that is hard to visualize, which is why
yeah,
adaptations of this have always struggled.
it was essentially they in the book they describe it as it's leaving. It's basically like it's traveling through space and
You know, but
time.
that's what the Tesseract does. What is it?
But it's not an it's just it's what you're doing. It is a
You see,
thing.
yeah, but you
Like
see
it
my
is.
point. Like, is it a portal? Is it
It's a
is it a
no.
box that they
It's a
use?
it's a it's a concept. It's a way of travel. You are traveling by tesseract.
Right, but like you know how like a car is a
That's
thing.
why that's why in the modern movie, they essentially describe it or choose to describe it. It's I mean essentially it is what it needs to be. It's a method of
But
travel.
that's going to be my ultimate point when it comes to this story is that a lot of that book is unadaptable in terms of visualization. So like
it's
they
not
never
like
articulate what the
they, they they describe it essentially as you disappear and stop existing. Like you go into a blackness where you don't feel anything, you can't hold hands, you don't like you're nothing, and
right.
then you're just instantly on the other planet.
I feel like you're missing
So
my point though. Like
so essentially they describe it as like like what Goku does, instant transmission.
right, but it's never articulate. It's always it's vague and
Yes, it
conceptual,
is.
but it's
That's what I
not.
just told. But it is.
But yeah, but no, you're still describing it conceptually. You're
What
not
they've
describing
just
it as an
no what
actual
they've
thing.
described it is how they've described it. That's what it is. You are disappearing and then reappearing. You're going through a darkness where you are nothing. You are no mass,
Right,
no
but
feeling, no nothing,
like
no
compare it
light,
to
and then you appear. That's not doing no description. That is
no,
describing what it is.
but it's described as more of an idea than it is a physical thing. That's why these
No,
adaptations.
it's not. I just described what
Let
the
me
physical
finish.
thing is.
But like for example, like the Tesseract and the MCU, right? Very easy to understand. It's a cube, easy to understand. The Tesseract in A Wrinkle in Time is like, well, it's a metaphysical concept more than anything. But
It
it's
is
like
a being of travel.
right, but
It
it's
is
a
essentially you leaving your dimension, traveling through the fifth dimension, and then appearing at another
right,
location.
but the
It's not
book
an item. It's not a
the
thing. It is a method of
that's
travel.
my point though. Is that's what makes it that's why this book has never been successfully adapted because the Tesseract it's not a thing. It's not like it's a portal that they created. It's a metaphysical concept. It's not so that's why the movies have always had trouble. It's the same thing with we're gonna obviously get into this further, but that's the problem with a lot of stuff in that book is it's indescribable. It's based upon a feeling, not a thing that you can visualize. So
That's
like
not indescribable. She describes it as you disappearing, becoming nothing, going through a
yeah,
darkness of nothing, and then appearing. That is absolutely adaptable, Justin.
but it's
It's
not
just that she's just describing teleportation.
right. But it's not adaptable
It's
into
it's not a nebulous, unadaptable concept. What she is describing is teleporting. When you have in the book the picture of the thing traveling where it's the ant going across the skirt,
yeah,
it's you jumping from one location to another.
but they
It is not
never no
indescribable.
those
They
books
do describe it, and you can absolutely have that in a
no
physical
but
media.
those books never that book
And
never
that and
fully
in terms of the
articulates how
modern
it
movie,
works.
in terms of the what do you mean it doesn't?
It,
Yes, it
they just
does.
kind of appear on other planets. Like there's no explanation
Yes,
for
it's teleportation,
but they
Justin.
never explain the mechanics of how it works visually. They don't.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I
They
just listened to it.
but you the way
They
you
describe it as they describe it as going through darkness, being
yeah
nothing, and appearing in another
right
location.
but Jordan
That is
you're not
that is
listening.
a description.
You're not listening. They've described the feeling of what it is like. They've not described what it looks like visually. Right? That is not a
Yes, they have.
but that's not it. No, it's
You're
not.
going through darkness. You're going through nothing. That is a description.
But that's not. That's going through
Yes,
nothing.
it is.
How do you? What is nothing? What is nothing?
Dark, black,
Again,
nothing, dark.
nebulousness, right? That's why I'm saying.
No, it's not.
How do you visualize that? And make
The way
your
they did it in the modern movie, they do it where they go through what is essentially a wave in the air. It's dark, and then they're in the new location.
sort of sounds
That's
like
what's described in the book. It's teleportation, and that's what they do.
it just sort of sounds like they're going through a portal, right? Like I'm just saying it's like
No, you're not listening.
I
It's
am
not like
listening.
that. It is like they are instantaneously teleporting because that's what they're doing.
But how does it work?
What do you mean? How does it work?
How do you control it? How do you manipulate it? How do you utilize it? Like how do you, in the case of if they're famous, I don't like the change that they're famous. I guess is the point I'm getting at. I don't like the change that everyone knows about the Tesseract. That's
No, I
dumb.
don't either.
It's a
In
dumb
the in the mo-
change. That's my point.
in the movie, in this movie, they essentially describe it as you have to hit the right frequency.
Like
Once you
if
hit the right, once you hit the, and it's stupid and inane. I hate the way that
like
the
what it
way that
reminds
this
me
movie
of.
describes it.
What it
But
reminds me of.
essentially, they describe it as like once you're on the right emotional frequency, that's how you access it.
Doesn't make
And
any
then
sense.
the emotional frequency that they describe it, or that they make it as in this movie, is love. So once you're feeling the right correct frequency, which is love, then you are able to teleport. As for how you choose where or when, I don't know. They don't really get the time to explore that in these books. That's not the point.
But that's my thing, right? Is the way you're describing it is they're trying to effectively take a concept from A Wrinkle in Time that just kind of existed to serve how they got to different planets and was really more of an idea than an actual like. I guess the point I'm trying to make is the Tesseract in how it's described is not applicable. Would not be applicable. It's not Iron Man technology, and the way you're describing it
No,
is they make
it's
it.
not.
You're making it sound like they're treating it as though it's Iron Man technology, and that's not what the
No,
Tesseract is.
no, I'm not.
That
I'm saying that these three ethereal beings, which we haven't even touched on
no, no, but
yet,
I'm not
these
talking about
these
them.
these three ethereal beings are essentially helping the children go to a different place. The dad has no idea what he's doing. That's why he ends up on Camazotz in the first place.
No, no, but yeah, my point is, as you're describing it in the movie, I guess I'm agreeing with you, having not seen it. But what I'm saying is the notion that they're scientists who are using this scientifically. That's not really how it's described in the book. It's sort of like
In the book it's described as they are a team of people working for the government who are trying to use this but have no idea what they're doing and can't test it on animals, so have to test it on themselves first. That's how it's described in the book. In the book, the dad is the second person to go off and basically attempt this. There was actually a person who went before him. They waited like a year or two, and the guy doesn't come back, and then the dad goes.
like it seems to me like the movie
But it's
wants to be
secret.
like the dad is going to turn this into a technology, and you have a portal gun, and that's how you tesseract the place.
No,
I'm like, that sounds dumb.
not a technology. More that the like the parents, the mom and the dad, they essentially come up with a formula, which they're like, if X equals Y, then blah blah blah, and the dad is like, well, he essentially ends up figuring out that it's the frequency is the thing that brings it all together, and then that's where he disappears.
Like my thing is the way you're describing it
So let me continue. Let me continue with the changes that they have
wait,
made in
hold
this
on, let me
movie.
finish the thought. It just sort of sounds like they're trying to like
They're
modernize
trying
or
to
explain
rationalize it.
a
They're trying
thing
to
that has no
rationalize it.
rationale. That's my thing. Is like the
Well, it does have a rationale. That's the thing.
but the
It
whole
it does it does have rationale, and this movie changes it and makes it stupid.
my thing.
The rationale is there. If you want the what I would attribute, they don't say this in the book, but what I would attribute to it, and the way that I would logic it is they are essentially when they use a tesseract, they are essentially, I can use the word properly, um, summoning a wormhole that they use to travel.
Right.
What they describe in the book of an ant being able to jump across the skirt and end up in another location instantly is essentially a wormhole. So if we were to reason this out, what a tesseract is the ability to summon and use a wormhole to travel instantaneously to a different location in space and time.
Now to be fair,
They don't describe it as such, but as a person who has experienced enough science fiction and Star Trek and Star Wars, that is what they are using.
to be fair, a lot of these complaints could maybe be a reflection on the book of being like she doesn't articulate her ideas exceptionally well, and like how they're like a lot of the concepts or how the interspace stuff works is more about feeling or more about like when it comes to dealing with it, how do you visualize that on it becomes difficult other than to do it like metaphorically, you know
No,
what I mean?
no, it is not hard. It is described as a big brain. That is what it is supposed to be. It is supposed to be a literal giant brain.
Yeah, but a lot of her a lot of
That's
the
not
interactions
that's
between
really not that hard to show.
the movies when it comes to adapting a lot of A Wrinkle in Time is metaphorical and allegorical, and those become difficult to in a way that isn't
So
just.
so let me continue with some of the changes that they've
I'm
made.
gonna guess that that's where this is going, where it's a lot of person making a movie taking what is meant to be allegorical and metaphorical and doing it literally.
Let me
Ah, see, yeah, that side tells me I'm
let
right.
me
That side tells me I'm
well
right.
it's one.
I
Okay,
can tell by
so
the trailer. Having not seen it, I can
okay,
tell.
so there's character issues that I have with this, which I don't mind. I don't mind creative liberty, but when you completely change a character, that's when I take
Because the book
issue.
is from first person, right? It's from Megan's
Um,
perspective.
it's from Meg's
Yeah, yeah.
perspective.
So
It's
once
more. It's not really. It's kind of first person, but it's more a third person.
because you don't see
Um,
any other character's perspective.
Not really. No, it's
No.
mostly for Meg's. Meg's and kind of the greater perspective
When you're looking at a
generally.
person from because yeah, a
Um,
lot of that is like what a lot of the
but
book is what she is experiencing, and so that's hard to
so
visualize on the screen, which is probably a problem.
so in the book, Mrs. Watson is supposed to be like a tramp, like a homeless old lady. Like
Perhaps you should define what a tramp is because a tramp has a
it's a
different
homeless lady.
yeah that connotates a different image in today's vernacular.
It's a homeless lady, an old homeless lady.
Charlie Chaplin.
Um, sort of think like if your grandmother was homeless. That's what
Yeah,
the character's supposed to be
old
like.
Victorian
Um,
poor person.
and and so they made the character into Reese Witherspoon. I think it's Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, it's Reese
Hold on.
Witherspoon. It's listening to the Google. It's Reese
And
Witherspoon.
and in the book, Mrs. Watson is again because she's supposed to be an old lady. She's very not like she's nice. She's
Yeah,
supposed to be nice to Meg in particular. Like she's like, I love you in spite of your faults. Like I like you, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas in this one, she kind of picks on Meg. She's kind of a bitch to Meg the entire time. And like she's like, why did we bring her along? Oh, she's gonna be nothing but trouble. Oh, she's just gonna make things more difficult. Like oh, and like she's needlessly mean
it seems like
to this character, and like kind of completely misses the point of that character.
well, from what I recall
Um,
of the promotion material for that movie is yeah, they seemed less like the three W's from the A Wrinkle in Time and more like the fairies from Sleeping Beauty.
yeah, kind of. I could see why you would make that comparison. Um, the they turned Mrs. Witch into Mrs. Watson. Essentially, what Miss Witch is in this movie is what Miss Watson is supposed to
Yeah,
be.
because they clearly didn't want to do
Um,
Mrs. Witch. Is another example of an unadaptable character.
she's not an unadaptable character.
I'm
Um,
coming at this from the perspective of a movie executive. It's like there's too much. There's too much.
she's she's not
I get
she's
why she
not
changed
she's
her.
not
I fully
she's
get it.
not an unadaptable
I
character.
fully understand.
You could absolutely have her in there. You could do what the TV movie did, which okay, short version of this quote unquote review, if you want to call it that. If you want a more book adaptation, a more book accurate adaptation in a visual media, go watch the 2003 made for TV movie because that's going to be the one that's closer to the actual book.
Yeah, but clearly
If
they
you're
didn't want
looking
to.
for a fresh take on the story, which is different and arguably worse depending on your perspective, then go watch this movie. I'm not going to say that it's bad. Is the long and short of it because I could go through bit by bit all the differences, but that would I
Is
already feel
Calvin
I already feel like I'm running long here. Um, if you're looking for a different take on the story, then watch this version because it's
is
different and it's fresh, but
is
I think it's
Calvin
worse.
is Calvin a ginger?
No,
Did they race swap him as well?
no, he's still white.
He's still white. Incredible. What was my other question?
I think.
What is the major bit that they change? Because clearly there's a major bit they change.
I mean, there's quite a bit.
Like, let's do
When they
story
go
stuff.
when they for one thing, they don't refer to it as it, they refer to it as the it, which drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, and
When they go to Camazotz, instead of like them being on an actual planet, which is just a normal planet, um it essentially warps them from location to location. So like at one point they're in the suburbs, and then it like teleports them to the beach, and then it teleports them to the building where um the dude from Ant-Man who does the recap. I think that's who plays him. He's there, but he's like, instead of him being just a dude like he is in the book, he is literally a puppet.
oh,
Like he has strings and he has a puppet.
oh.
Um, um,
What is the
when they
brain? What is it? Do they ever explain what it is beyond just a big brain?
in in the original, he's a big brain, which
Yeah, but
I
what
think it's
is
supposed to.
he?
I think it's supposed to be a metaphor for like, you know, the faceless, bodiless evil that is communism.
Yeah, but
The
I mean,
big
like
brain,
literally, is
the
it an
big.
alien that like?
He's a, literally he's a big brain that controls the planet. That's what he is.
Yeah, but is he like an alien from another planet that crash landed
No,
there? Like, is he part of some sort of evil
he's
empire?
just described as a big brain. I don't know what you want from me. That's what he is. He's a big brain.
I guess that's my thing with that's my thing
They
with A Wrinkle
describe
in Time generally.
They describe Camazotz as a planet that has given into the darkness, and on that planet it is a big brain. I think what the darkness is on each planet is different, because obviously on Earth there is no big brain, but it is a planet that is dubbed as fighting the darkness. Darkness is just evil. So on evil, clearly the form that evil took is a big brain. I
Um,
don't know.
but that's sort of my point with that adaptation is
And
clearly.
as for the major change that happens in that movie, and the thing that irritates me the most is, um so the point where they are losing to the brain, and in the actual book they teleport away to the planet where Aunt Beast is.
Yes.
um they don't do that in this.
No, because
she just
clearly.
she just she just refuses to leave, and then they have the final battle with it, which I'm not going to say I don't visually like the battle. I think that, like, if they had done that, the scene with Aunt It, and then she came back and had this battle like it actually happens in the story,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But I don't like that they skipped the Aunt B scene.
I mean,
I
to be
understand
fair.
why they did it,
Yeah, to be fair
but I
to
don't
Aunt
like it.
Beast.
And the reason why it irritates me, because you're gonna say, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say they can't visualize her, but they have her.
What?
They have her in the movie. When they go to the not so happy medium and they're looking at all these different planets, one of the things that they show is, and they're like, oh, and that's Aunt Beast, and you see Aunt Beast and she's there, and they
Oh, so
reference
it's
her.
in the movie. They just cut her
It's
scene.
in the movie, they cut her scene.
Oh, that would piss me off so much worse. Because I'm like, if you're gonna
Yeah,
cut
it
her scene,
does.
I get why you cut her scene. I get it because yeah, you're right.
I can
That's
understand,
what I would say
because
is
yeah, I can understand how it would be difficult, or how you would not want to take the time to represent it. Sure, okay. But if you're going to show it,
yeah.
then why not have the scene?
Because like, admittedly, I've never been able to picture Aunt Beast in my. Even when I was a kid,
I
I,
just
I couldn't picture what she looked
I
like. I
just
couldn't create an image.
I just pictured it as like a solid tube, basically, of fur with tentacle arms that has fur all over
I
it,
I
because it's described as a tentacled monster that's really furry, and that's
yeah,
really the
I've
most.
never been able to visualize. It's the one thing that's why I'm saying a lot of that book is unadaptable in terms of. That's
But I
why
don't think
I'm
it is.
I'm a little sad that you didn't get to Ant, because I remember her being in that TV movie,
Yeah,
and I remember her not
I didn't
looking
get to
good.
it. I didn't
I
get to
remember being
that
like,
point with
that's not
that,
what it look.
but
But my thing
but
with
no,
like
it irritates me that when they go to Camazotz, the teleporting around, like, just why do that? Why not just make it a planet? It's just a
yeah,
planet.
yeah.
Like, there's just a lot of choices where it's like, or like,
Wait,
okay,
when you say teleporting around, like, what do you mean it's not a
I
planet?
I mean I mean, like, they go to the planet, land, and they're in the middle of the forest, and then visually everything around them changes, and they're in the middle of the suburbs.
Oh,
And
that's
then
that's just
visually everything around them changes, and they're at the beach.
that's
Like, it's like they're teleporting on the planet. So it's not like the planet, like, it makes you question whether any, like, whereas, okay, sorry, I'm getting heated. Whereas in the actual story and in the TV movie, they actually physically travel to these locations. So you know that it was at one point a real planet which fell to darkness, right? Whereas in this version, because they're just warping around here, there, everywhere, it makes me as an audience member go like, okay, so is anything they're seeing real? Or is it just like they're inside this dark thing and it's showing them
Oh,
whatever it wants to see?
got it.
Like, is any of what they're seeing real or not? I don't know
So
because they're just teleporting from location to location.
here's
It makes it messy, I guess, is
here's
my
here's
point.
my here's my thing. Yes, you're right, because I remember in the actual book they just kind of walk to the corporate office building, like
Yeah,
they
like they are on they are
um
on a planet and they walk there and they're talking to real people that you know are actual people.
that would be my well, okay. Here's my movie making answer for why that happens in that movie. The movie making reason is so they don't have to show you them moving from location to location. That's why that
Oh yeah,
happens that way. It's
I get
laziness more
that.
than anything. But that's my criticism of, and that's what I was trying to drive at. And you're right. And maybe this has been so interesting though. But you're right. It has kind of run a little long. Um, I'll let you wrap up, and then we'll move on to this is gonna be. I kind of had a
I
feeling it was
just
gonna be a
yeah,
jumbo episode. It's the penultimate
like I
episode.
just
It could be kind of jumbo.
my last kind of thoughts on it are like there are choices and there are changes in there that I don't dislike. Like for example, in the scene where they're on the Uriel, and Mrs. Watson changes into an animal, or into a not an animal, but into a different beast or whatever. In the book, she changes into what's described as essentially like a centaur type thing,
Yeah.
whereas in this, she's more of like a giant flower slash leaf creature,
Yeah.
which visually I just think looks better and kind of fits in on that planet more.
Yeah.
So like that's an example of a choice that I don't inherently dislike. Also, the fact that Zach Galifianakis is the I believe his character is called the not so happy medium. I think it's a funny joke, and I like that's not something
Yeah.
that inherently bothers me.
Um,
Um, Fact that they make it so that him and Mrs. Watson are like dating is weird, but there's choices in there that I don't. And again, the battle between Meg and it, I think visually looks good, and
yeah.
I don't. It's just there's story choices and things that they've skipped and stuff that they've done and like changes to characters that I hate.
Okay. Here's my final thoughts before we talk about
That
Daybreakers. Yeah, because we still got to do the shit we hadn't seen, and that I thought that's gonna be really meaty because I got a lot of shit to say about my stuff.
mine
Um,
won't be quite as long on that end, so that'll be fine.
um, but the thing with the Wrinkle in Time is that book took decades for them to make into a movie because a lot of that book is happening in Meg's head, and a lot of it is her emotionally reacting to stuff. So the fact that you say that the visualization of her fighting it is interesting to me because that was hard to do because it's just her experiencing emotions and how do you convey that in film language. It's super and just a lot of like
I
a
I could
lot
tell
of
you.
a lot no because I think I might want to watch that one day. Um,
Fair.
but a criticism of the book is that a lot of its science fiction concepts are unexplored or underexplained because that's not the point of that book. That book is not
Yeah.
meant to be a science fiction book, so it's supposed to be metaphorical. But when it comes time to do a movie, that's when you need to explain. Where you're like, well, you're right. What is exactly the darkness? Is it a thing? Is it an evil thing that? And I think later books did
That's why
eventually
in this
explain what it is. But like, what
that's
is
why
it? Is
in
it like a metaphorical representation of the darkness, or is it a literal creature? Like, what is it?
yeah, that's why in this one they refer to it as the it, and they kind of do try to make it like they try to make it more into a force, more into like a Galactus cloud, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah. Like the
Um,
book, and to be fair, you've listened to it more recently, but from my basic recollection, the book less says that it is just a brain, more just that that's what it looks like. Like it's not actually a brain.
I
It just
if
kind of more looks like a big
I,
brain.
I have to admit I was listening to it while I was working, so some of the details might have gone over my head, but um, I believe I might be wrong. Someone go and listen to the Wrinkle in Time and correct me on this if I am. But I believe when when they go to the planet of Aunt Beast and Mrs. Watson and them are talking to them. I think they say that that's just the form that it takes on that planet.
Yeah. The darkness. So like it's a representation. That's why you say on Earth it doesn't represent itself. But again, I think later books do kind of explain exactly what the darkness is, and that's where I'm saying like the Tesseract is not a piece of technology. It's an idea or a concept that these beings are using to travel. That's where I'm like because when an audience member in 2018, that's when this movie comes out.
2018.
When they hear like you kind of got to put this in its time, and you got to be like, well, when they hear Tesseract, they're gonna think Avengers, right? So like the Tesseract from A Wrinkle in Time is different in its in how it kind of.
That's why in this one they're clearly they were like famous celebrity scientists who are trying to research this, and that's why they're like it's a frequency that once you hit the frequency it lets you teleport essentially.
But anyway,
because they clearly were trying to be like,
how do we explain this in the dumbest way we possibly can?
That's the pseudoscience way we can do this.
And I think you're right. I think you're right. Ultimately, like making them, it doesn't work if they're famous. The story doesn't work if they're well known.
No,
if Meg knows what the Tesseract is already, then all of her experience going for also
she doesn't really.
A Wrinkle in
She
Time.
doesn't really. She doesn't really follow what her parents do necessarily.
That's dumb and arbitrary. Then, don't like that. But what was I gonna say? Them changing and moving shit around always irritates me in this book because the book's like that thick. Like it's not a long book. Like really, when you get down to it, there's like 2 locations. Like not a ton happens in that book.
3 technically. There's Uriel. There's Camazotz, and there's the planet that the Ant Beast is on.
4 if you count Earth.
And Earth if you count
4 if you count Earth. So like if you cut
out
Ant Beast, it's 3 locations.
Yeah. So I mean, I could complain about this version of it a lot longer. I could go into more depth, but we don't have time for that.
That sounds
so
bad.
That's my
sounds bad.
So that's my it was disappointing to say the least. So that's my to have seen.
So okay, before we get into hadn't scenes, Jordan. Normally I'd let you go first, but since you've waited so patiently,
you have another have seen, don't you?
Or I still gotta do Daybreakers. Never mind. I gotta do Daybreakers. Daybreakers is not gonna be as long as A Wrinkle in Time was. So for my second have seen, I decided to actually watch Daybreakers, and remind myself about that movie.
The vampire boobs, you mean?
Vampire boobs. And it's funny because we already talked about what the original were. I'll very basically
that was funny.
We thought it was a conceptually good idea, but we thought that the execution left much to be desired, and the resolution is stupid. The resolution we don't want to spoil it in our initial video, so we don't say what it is, but the cure is fucking stupid. It legit is. It's really lazy. The cure is, Jordan, the vampires just gotta stand out in the sun a bunch.
Yeah, you're right. That is stupid.
So basically, okay.
So they have to Twilight themselves, basically.
Kind of, yeah. But if you do it for too long, you catch on fire. But if you do it for just the correct amount of time and you douse yourself with water, you're cured from your vampirism.
Ooh, sounds arbitrary.
It absolutely. So basically, it takes place in a world where some rogue disease vampire bat bit a human, and it turned the entire human race into vampires. And Ethan Hawke is in it for some reason, and he plays a hematologist who is Jordan, for your benefit because you're stupid. A hematologist.
Fuck you! Don't dermatologists do skin?
A hematologist. They study blood.
Oh, hematologist blood. I knew that.
Did you actually know that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, but actually?
No, I actually did.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I've been to a blood doctor. I've had to have my blood checked.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no, he's a hematologist, and basically, they've hunted...
I also know that because of D&D Critical Role, blood hunters do dermatologic magic.
Hematology.
Yeah.
Dermatology is skin. Hematology is blood.
Hematology magic, blood magic.
That's actually hilarious. So basically they've hunted the local population of the food source to near extinction levels. And so they're attempting to find a blood substitute. And while this happens, Ethan Hawke runs into basically rogue sect of leftover humans who are trying to find a cure. And he runs into William Dafoe, who is a cured vampire, and he's the one who reveals that he got into the sun a bunch. And in the meantime, Ethan Hawke's brother works for the government, and they have like human hunting people or whatever. And what's his face? Dr. Grant is in it, and he's the evil bad guy, and he's trying to find his daughter who refused to become a vampire. Long story short, blah blah blah. The movie happens, and it turns out
you don't say the movie happens. Wow.
Ethan Hawke tests this cure on himself and turns himself back into a human by going into the sun a bunch. He becomes a human, and the bad Dr. Grant captures him. And it turns out, George, to get even more arbitrary, that it's not even just standing in the sun a bunch, but apparently if you stand in the sun a bunch and get turned back into human, and your blood is also the cure. And so Dr. Grant tries to eat Ethan Hawke, and he sucks his blood, and it cures him, and he dies instantly.
That sounds interesting.
And then
dumb.
It's revealed.
I can't decide what the right word here is. Justin, fill in the blank. That
arbitrary.
That's the word.
And it's revealed that at one point that they want to get the artificial blood so they can re-raise human population, so then they can hunt them for
sport
for like human, true, pure, organic human blood. They can give the poor is the artificial fake shit, and the rich people will get to have the good shit. So it's like, oh no, we're still gonna kill humans, but like, you know, we're gonna kill them and we're gonna feed off of them like
in style.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And it is it's honestly pretty good. I was surprised. It's one of those times where I was like, this is a good movie. It's actually pretty. I quite like it. It's clever. I enjoy movies that are unique and creative, and this definitely was. Like, William Dafoe is hilarious. He just says really weird, gross one-liners randomly that are, I can't even think of any of them, but they're really inappropriate. I'm trying to rush through this so we can just get to the have-not scenes, because that's the shit I actually want to talk about.
I mean, we've passed my my big talking point, so
I think that's it. That's all I had to say about Daybreakers. It was fine. It was pretty fun. It's a good movie. And I think it's on something. I don't remember what. But I was surprised. I spent years saying how much I hated that movie, and I don't know why, because it's honestly pretty good.
I remember thinking it was fine. I don't remember having major issues with it.
Other than the fact that the cure is fucking stupid. Oh, and the other beef that you had, you were like, oh, when they shoot, the whole thing is they have like crossbows or whatever, and they shoot the vampires in the heart, and then they explode. And you were like, I don't like the fact that they explode. That's dumb. And it's because the idea is they're staking them, and that's what's making them explode. It's just a real on-the-nose visual representation of vampire killing.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand.
But I just love the idea that like humans just adjust. Like they will always just adjust to whatever the new normal is.
Yeah.
No, the new normal is we're all vampires now. And like not everyone would be against that.
I mean, I'd be a creature of the night.
I don't know. I kind of have when everyone's a vampire. Yeah, it's the moral quandary of having Dick. That's Ethan Hawke's thing. Is he doesn't want to kill people. He eats like he's one of those vegetarian vampires from like Twilight or whatever.
I mean, nah.
So that's it. That's the have scenes.
Nah.
That's all the have scenes. That's it. That's we're done with that. Let's do that. Let's do the have it scenes, Jordan. I mean, normally I'd let you go first, but you've been waiting patiently for 2 weeks for me to watch Searching. So would you like to hear me talk about Searching before we get into your stuff?
Fuck yeah, I would.
Yeah, you would. So Jordan, I needed to do this live on air because it doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen very often. You don't get to hear these words very often, Jordan. And I needed it. I needed this moment to do it. Jordan, you were right. This movie's fucking amazing.
I was.
You were correct.
I told you. I knew you'd like it.
You were correct. You were correct to recommend it to me because it is phenomenal. It truly. This movie is why I fucking love this show, because this movie, we wouldn't have watched this movie if not for this show. We wouldn't be if we weren't doing this. We wouldn't have picked that up. Why would we have? And is truly it's okay. I'm gonna do this in two parts. The first part's gonna be short. The second part's gonna get detailed because I really want to break this thing apart. But I'm gonna have to spoil it to do so, and I don't want to do that because every audience, non-spoilers, this movie's phenomenal. I was on the edge of my seat the whole fucking time. Um, it has twists and turns, and it's genuinely very good. All the performances are good. It's a very good movie. Go watch it. I think it's on something.
It's been twice recommended. Once by me.
He was very right. He was so right. It's truly a very good movie. Now searching. Number one, I've never felt so gaslit by a movie in my entire life. Like, it had me like convinced at every. I was so convinced that the brother did something hinky. I was like, please don't do this to me, movie. Don't do this to me, movie.
I was so sure. I was so sure.
I was like in and out of like, okay, no, she's being groomed. She's being groomed. She's clearly being groomed by somebody. Like the catfish who's grooming her. She's been abducted. Like I was. But here's what I will say. Okay, no, let me say this without. So once again, this is your last opportunity. I'm gonna spoil the outcome of this movie. Did you, by asking Jordan this question, did you figure out it was the cop before they revealed it?
No, it took me completely. I didn't. I thought, okay, so for the large part of them, like pretty much right from the beginning, as soon as I saw the brother, I was like, oh, it's gonna be the brother. Like, there's no way it's
really.
Not. Like,
that caught me completely off guard. I was not expecting to go there.
I thought for sure he just looked so suspicious. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I thought for sure it was going to be him. And so it gets to the scene where he's like, what did you do to my daughter? What did you do to my daughter? And I was like, boom, called it. Knew they were going to do it.
Wow, that's so funny. No, that completely.
And then he's like, I sold her weed, and I was like, oh,
that makes so much sense.
Who's it gonna be then? Like, oh, and I didn't even then like he connects it to the detective, and I was like, oh dang! So okay. Did not see that coming.
Here's what I will say about finding out it was the detective. There's certain times when I'm watching movies where movie language gives away the ending, like where I know how movies work, and I know so. When he was like, I'm really glad you got assigned to the case. I'm really glad that you were the one who got put in charge of this. That you're helping me out with this. I went, wouldn't it be funny if it was the cop? And I'm like, it just seems like, what if it was the cop? What if she's the one? But then I'm like, but she has no motive. Like,
yeah,
that was the thing that made that movie.
That's why
she has no motive. But she was really like, it was him being like, oh, and him Googling her. And I'm like, oh, that's the movie being like, you need to be familiar with her background. Her background is going to come back later. And something tied to her background is going to be a big twist. And I keyed in at that moment. I didn't think it was going to be, I didn't fully think it was until he started to put it together. And then I was like, it's the cop. And then the minute it was the cop, I was like, it's the son. The son did it. And I thought, because I was like, because then I keyed into her being like, her telling the story of how she covered shit up for the son before. As soon as it was like, it's the cop, as soon as it cut to her confessing, I'm like, it's the son. It was the son.
It blew my mind when it was the cop. Once it was the cop, I was like, okay, maybe. But no, up until that point, I didn't even suspect the cop.
I did. It's one of those like, I didn't, because I was like, I did. It's hard to explain. Like I had an inkling. I had an inkling that it might be her. But I was like, but this is that kind of movie where this could go complete left turn and not be that. And I almost just was joking to myself.
So here's the question: did you think that he was gonna find her?
No. I cried. I'm not even gonna lie. I fucking cried. Like I started to tear up. I started getting emotional. When it shows, when I'm like, when they're pulling it up, I'm like, oh my God, let her be alive, let her be alive, let her be alive,
right?
Let her be alive. And then like, when it shows her in the picture in the wheelchair at the hospital, like my heart like leapt. I was like, oh my God. But
Yeah,
like, oh no,
no.
because I guess the implication, because I was like, so does the cop get off now, or is she still? Because I
No, I
guess she
think she went
technically
to.
killed the guy, right? That's the
Yeah,
implication.
I
She
think
kills the
yeah,
guy.
she uses the guy to frame
That's my
and
one
make it.
thing is her covering it up doesn't really. The movie's so good that I'm willing to look past this small indiscretion, but it doesn't really make a ton of sense because like it was an accident. It's very clearly an accident. Her retelling of the story
Yeah, but
describes it as an accident. Any
I
forensic
think
evidence would describe it as an accident.
I think the implication was that he had a prior, like he had prior offenses or he had a prior thing, didn't
I
he?
think what she seemed to imply, the implication I got was that he was autistic or that he was developmentally challenged because she kept saying like he can't handle this kind of thing. He can't handle this kind of attention. He doesn't want that kind of attention. So it seemed to me that she was implying that he was like, and she kept saying he's a special kid. So I think the implication is he has some sort of like social developmental disability that prevents him
Okay.
from, because otherwise, yeah, it was an accident. Like it was she could have like he could have phoned her. She could have brought in a rescue team, and they could have gone down there and found her sooner. Like she didn't really have and my justification for that would be me defending against myself would be, well, she's clearly emotional. It's in the heat of the moment. She's not thinking clearly.
Yeah,
But like
I would have
still,
I would have preferred if they had kind of gone the route of she didn't want it to come out because she was worried it would destroy her career.
yeah,
Like that
yeah.
that to me is a more clear cut
Like
motivation.
having this, well, or make it where the
Like
son did it more deliberately. Then like
yeah,
he
or
deliberately
something
pushed her.
like it was malicious or
But I just love
something.
the fact that it just turned out she was like it was such a realistic portrayal of how of like not only just a person disappearing, how yeah, like everyone's always like, how come you didn't immediately notice? Well, you know, you're living your life. You're not constantly hovering over a person. Like, yeah, it's gonna take
Yeah.
a day or two for you to click in on. Oh yeah, this is something's odd, something's off. I also really enjoyed how
The build up to it as well
the build up.
of him of him seeing how like how he's not as close with his daughter as he thought he was and like
Yeah,
the emotional you even though it's just through the computer and the cameras and stuff you feel the
and
emotional weight.
I love
The
how
actor does such a good job.
we're with him the whole time because yeah, like she's constantly trying to convince him, and like on the entire time, like when it's revealed that she's dead, I'm like, or you think she's dead, I'm like, no, there has to be one more rug pull. There has to be. This can't be it because I'm like he's right. Why did she phone him? Because
Yeah.
why did she? That was the part that I kept coming back to. I was like, why did she phone him? Like if she was running
If she
away,
wanted to just slip
slip
away into the
away,
night, why would she call him?
why would she call him? Like that was the part that I kept coming to. Yeah, I do. Not that I wish that I'm happy she survived, but yeah, it would have made more sense. The cover up would have made more sense for me had had he actually deliberately done something. Um,
Yeah, like if he was a scorned boyfriend or
yeah,
something.
because it's like it gets easily. Yeah, it sounds like an accident, and like if her thing was I covered it up because I was afraid he'd get arrested and be put in jail for murder, he wouldn't have. It would have been determined as at best manslaughter or like accidental death. Like he didn't deliberately push her. It was very definitely an accident. So like I just don't think he would have gotten that like, in as much trouble as she
Yeah.
thought. But that could be very well the
Clearly,
point, right?
clearly the idea is that like I think the point is supposed to be that in the moment she made a rash, quick, fast,
Yeah,
bad decision, and then every moment after that was the inevitable liar's pursuit of trying to cover up the thing that
yeah,
you started, the snowball effect, and then you're in too deep, and it's like, well, I have now covered up this thing which is
true.
worse crime, and so I can't let them discover that I did this because that and this and this
Yeah,
and this.
that's fair. Now I need to talk about this movie from a filmmaking standpoint. It's kind of I was reading about it. Apparently they shot it in 13 days, and it was all shot mostly in like one house. So there's scenes where they're talking.
It's brilliant to me because it must have been very cheap to make.
Oh yeah, I was watching it. I'm like, most of the budget for this thing. I didn't look up what the actual budget was, but most of the budget had to go into licensing the social media platforms. That like most of the money had to have gone to paying Facebook to let. And it was very funny to me because you can tell which companies wouldn't let them use their IP. So clearly Twitch didn't want to let them because I don't think all of it was distracting that all of them were real up until I don't think Ucast is a real thing. Like I don't think the
No,
website she was using to streaming. I don't think that's a real website.
I don't think so, but I actually don't know. For all
Yeah.
I know, it is.
Maybe in 20, I think this came out in 2009, 18, I think. So in 2018, then maybe UCAS was a thing, but I don't think it just kind of yeah, it was just kind of like yeah, clearly they couldn't afford Twitch. I mean, my other favorite character is the guy who's clearly just a troll. And I love the notion of like a troll finally getting beat up in real life. Like, and
Right,
that's I mean,
right.
look, there's consequences for actions. I like yeah, I get that you're supposed to be mad at him for beating up a teenager, but sometimes teenagers deserve it. Um,
I mean, I am not going to condone violence towards another human, but I'm not going to say that it wasn't satisfying.
Also, Jordan, and this is where I'm going to end this because this might be a challenge for both of us. Jordan, did you know there's a sequel?
There is?
Yeah, it's not a. It doesn't continue the story, but it's another one of those. It takes place in the same world and it's the same kind of film, like same
Interesting.
style, but it's a different characters, different
Same
story, same
same
idea.
director?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the same directors. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting.
I
That
I
might be that
I almost
might have to
watched
be a
it.
thing. Might have to be a thing where we return to.
But to wrap it up, Jordan, you were right. It was a phenomenal fucking movie. I was shocked. I was literally on. Like I said, I've never felt so gaslit
Ring
by a movie.
ring,
I
ring
was
ring,
on the
ring ring.
edge. No,
You
no,
better
Jordan,
pick up
Jordan,
that phone
Jordan. I'm picking up the phone because you fucking called
because
it.
I called
Because you
it.
called it, Jordan. I'm the one who is
Ring
pick.
ring,
Hey, Jordan, Jordan, you're calling me, Jordan,
ring ring, ring
Jordan.
ring.
Hey, Jordan, you there?
Yeah,
Jordan,
yeah.
you were right.
Hello.
Jordan, you were
I
right.
know.
Click.
I know.
Anyway, that was seriously. If you sat through the spoilers, I'm sorry, I had to spoil it. I had to talk about how good it was. But if you just tuned back in, go watch Searching. It's really really good. Jordan's got good taste. He picked the
Do
correct movie.
it. Do it.
And
Do it. Do it.
Jordan, what is
Do it.
what is your first one that I suggested you watch? Jordan, you know what? I'm gonna let you pick. Which one do you want to talk about first? Which one did you like more? Or you want to end with the one you liked more and start with the one that you like less?
That's a hard thing for me to answer because I like them both for different reasons.
Okay, okay. Which one do you have more to say about?
So I have more to say about Ultraman.
Let's
So
finish
we'll
on
start with
Ultraman then.
Leo.
You want to? We'll start. Yeah, I'll start with Leo. We'll
We'll
finish
we'll
on
start
Ultraman.
we'll start with Leo. I liked Leo. It was cute. It was fun.
It's better
It
than you
was
expect it to be. That's my number one thing with Leo.
yeah.
Like you're like oh,
Um,
it's just an inoffensive, and then it goes places. It does go places.
my one thing, I don't like the mean teacher. That I don't like that she gets a happy ending.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. She realizes
No,
her mistake and she
no,
fixes it.
don't like it.
I
She
liked it.
swoops in. She swoops in, steals the nice pixie dream girl teacher's class, ruins their year and makes their life a living hell, and then gets a happy ending.
Yeah, but it all ends up working out in the end, where it turns out that she also
I don't.
learns a lesson. Jordan, she
I don't.
also
No, I
learns a
don't.
lesson.
No,
Important
no, I
that
don't care.
so she
I,
learns that she has to go back to being she has to also be the manic pixie dream teacher.
no, I don't care. Don't like her. But the rest of it is sweet and fun and cute. The idea of that this is a Toy Story world where all the animals can talk but just won't for some reason is funny to me.
My favorite bit
Um,
is Bill Burr as Squirtle, Squirtle the
so
turtle.
yeah, the Squirtle the turtle.
I cannot believe they could get Squirtle like that.
Squirtle the turtle.
Like the fact that Nintendo let them use the name Squirtle is kind of impressive.
Well,
My
I mean, they don't have forever and perpetuatory rights to the word Squirtle. I guess
I
maybe
guess not, maybe
theoretically.
not. But yeah, my
Um,
favorite bit is where he goes home with the kid and he tries to do the same thing as Leo does. He fails at it epically.
no, yeah, none of the kids like him, and
My
he's
or
jealous.
his relate he has a relate he winds up in a relationship with what was it? The thing that helps him fly? The bird? No.
Oh, the drone.
The drone, him and the drone. Yeah, him and the drone who's overprotective of the kid. That was really funny. I really enjoyed that. It's a
Um,
fun, cute movie.
it's a fun, inoffensive, cute movie. Definitely one that if I had kids, I'd let them watch
Oh
it.
yeah, for me, and when you first see the trailer and like within the first 5 minutes, you're like, this is gonna get old quick and the voice is gonna get annoying. But like him and Bill Burr as the turtle, they have a really tight, like fun back and forth. Whereas like this is
They do.
funny, this is good shit. Like, and the music, I recall the music being good. Like some of the songs were being pretty good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember having more specific positive things to say about it, but it's been a while since I've watched it. It's
Um,
not as fresh as Ultraman is.
I mean, I just, yeah, I like the advice that he gives the kids. The fact that like he thinks that he's gonna die in a year, and then they're like, all the ones in the wild are like, no, we live like 100 and something years. You're fine, brah.
Yeah, we're
And he's
like,
like, oh,
yeah, we live
cool.
forever, man. As long as you're taken care of, you'll be fine. Yeah, I would
Um,
watch more of these. That was the number one thing I remember saying about it was I've watched Leo too.
yeah, yeah, I would too.
I want to do Leo too, but now it's the kids are adults and it's their kids.
I mean, the nice thing about it being in a school is, yeah, if you did a sequel, you could just be where it's like 10 years later.
Well, I think in at the end, they move up to a new grade. So yeah, even if you want to do it the next year,
Yeah,
they're
they go with the mean teacher to a different. It's and they don't go up; they go down.
right down.
They're with the kindergartners
But yeah,
or
you
whatever
theoretically
now.
could do a sequel where they're with the younger kids now. Or
Yeah,
conversely, you do it where cut to and she's now teaching a different class, like fifth graders or something. Or even like they're with high. I think it'd be fun if they got moved into like a high school class. That'd be kind of fun. They have to help high schoolers.
I mean, yeah, I'd be good with anything
I
really.
would
I
just
just
watch
want
a sequel
more
to
of
this.
this
I think
world.
it's yeah. I would watch way more.
I just want more of this world. But that's
Right.
really all I have to say
The
about Leo.
story
It's
of this
fun.
last year for me has been discovering I actually love Adam Sandler. I think I like his stuff more than I hate it. I think I've discovered.
I think it depends on what we're talking about, Justin. I can think of a few things that I know you don't like.
That's also fair. Also, I'm pretty sure one of his kids, or both of his kids, are in it. I think
I
one or both or all of his kids play multiples of the children. I believe. I think I could be wrong about that. But anyway, George, do you have anything else you'd like to say about Leo before I get into Scott Pilgrim? Because I have a lot to say about Scott Pilgrim.
Sadie Sandler as Jada, a popular student.
Oh yeah, she's
Sunny
the.
Sadler, Sunny Sadler as Summer, a talkative student.
Oh yeah, so she's okay. Yeah. I know those. Yeah, have you ever thought just stop talking and just listen? Have you ever thought about just listening to people instead of
Or
talking?
asking an occasional question.
Yeah, like pause to consider for a moment that nobody cares. Nobody cares about what you have to
I
say.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Or
Um,
her and the I can't remember what the lesson is with the popular girl, but I remember the funniest bit about that was how the
that they're
dad.
they're not that great.
No, yeah, oh yeah, you're not that great. Yeah. No, my favorite bit about that, I think, if I remember correctly, the dad, he starts off this huge big musical number and it cuts away to them talking upstairs and it cuts back down and he's still doing it and we never see
Oh yeah,
his musical
he's
number
boast
is.
he's boasting about how he got his daughter like 2 extra minutes on the test or
Yeah,
something like that.
It's so funny. So anyway, so you have anything else to say about
Yeah, it's a good one.
did you
I'd
enjoy
watch it
Jordan?
again.
And Jordan,
Yeah,
was I right? And are you glad I made you watch it?
yeah,
Good,
you were,
good,
and I am.
good. Okay. My final haven't seen
I
Jordan.
I can see why you recommended it.
Good, good. My final haven't seen. Actually, I'm glad we're gonna end on Ultraman because that's the movie that began this premise. But the second one I hadn't seen was Jordan wanted me to watch the Scott Pilgrim show because clearly he watched it and we haven't actually talked about it yet. But he went, "What the fuck is this?" And I agree. And he was like, "Justin needs to
Yeah,
watch this because it's bizarre and who is this for?" That's my
yeah.
first question. That's my first thing about that show is who is it for? Because like if you
The
haven't seen
hardcore
the
movie
movie,
fans.
yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, I guess you could enjoy it on your own, but it's and the books. Like I could see how you could have read the books and not watch the movie and enjoy it, but you need prior knowledge of Scott Pilgrim to really get this. Because
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Because like
it
the first episode is following the plot, and then like pretty immediately it just goes
oh yeah,
like
it like rapid fires through the plot of the movie to get to the part where he fights Matthew Patel and then I'm gonna have to spoil Scott Pilgrim takes off. So I liked it
three,
overall.
two,
Um,
one.
I liked it overall. It was
So
great. It was good. I enjoyed it. I like the twists it took. I like the stuff that they did with the characters. It's interesting because they actually get to be characters in this. And I love the place that it ends. That having been said, it very much just kind of exists to answer all of the criticisms anyone has ever made about Scott Pilgrim, including all of the criticisms I made earlier in this episode, where I said that the movie doesn't explain anything or it doesn't detail any of how this works or anything like that. This show very much does. It very much exists. You know how if you were you uncomfortable with the fact that Scott dates a 17-year-old? Yeah, the show pretty much skips right over that bit. Like it's funny because the first line of the movie is Scott Pilgrim is dating a 17-year-old. Not in this. You see Knives Chow like once in the first episode, and she's briefly mentioned as Scott's girlfriend, and then I think in like.
I mean, she's described as Scott's kind of, sort of, not really a girlfriend.
That they're not really. They
haven't done. They maybe held hands.
They go out of their way to make it explicitly clear that they have done nothing sexual. They're like, they haven't even held hands. They've never kissed. They've never. And the movie does it too, but this show really draws attention to it. And so, big twist at the end of the first episode: Scott loses to Matthew Patel. That's not supposed to happen. He dies. And so then the show, I guess, is called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off because that's what he does. He just kind of takes off for 3 or 4 episodes and is gone.
And then it becomes the Ramona Flowers show.
And then it turns into the Ramona Flowers show. And it's basically serves to answer all of the like, oh, you know how everyone accused the ex-boyfriends of not really being characters and just kind of being plot devices? Well, now they get to be characters. Each of them gets moments in their episodes. And like they get to expand these characters, like give them characteristics and like character flaws, and like I enjoyed what they did. I love this 3rd episode where like you get to see them hang out and like you actually get to see the evil ex-boyfriends and girlfriend like interact. I like the fact that the girlfriend actually gets to be a character, and like I enjoyed that Ramona gets to reconcile with all of them. I think that's kind of neat, and I like some of the reveals. Like I like the reveal that Gideon is from the same high school as he winds up with Julie, who turns out to also be evil. I like that. Yeah, I like that they kind of are forced to face what each of them is and why them and Ramona broke up. And I like how by the end of it, they're all friends with Scott. Like it's like yeah. So the end of the series turns out that Scott didn't actually die. Spoiler alert. Scott from the future came back.
Older future Scott kidnapped him.
A future bitterly divorced Scott. Took him, saved him from getting together with Ramona. And then he takes him. No, Ramona takes him back, and it turns out, even though convincing him not to, he still winds up with Ramona anyway. So then an even further future of Scott. And the thing is, for all my criticism of being like, oh, the movie, it's in the real world, all of the mechanics of how the world works, you need to explain it then. Because now it's an anime, you don't need to do that. Like anime logic just operates differently than real logic. So like, yeah, these characters can do all this mystical, magical stuff, but you don't need to explain it. And they also explain the rules of how the league works and how official league fights work, because Matthew Patel and Gideon have one. And it's a really cool fight. And the animation is really cool looking. It's really ironic to me that it's just full blown. It's made in Japan. Like it's animated in Japan. It's made directed by Japanese people.
They have like a fight, an episode too, and you don't just get to see the league guys fight, but you get to see some of the other stuff and like as well. And it's just, yeah, it's very beautifully animated.
Yeah,
too.
and like it's really cool how initially I was off put by the fact that the original cast came back, but I as a point of criticism, it's distracting that some of them sound weird, sound different. Like Matthew Patel doesn't sound right, and Scott Pilgrim doesn't sound right. And it would be fine. I wouldn't take issue with that if they were all doing something different. But half of them, like, you just are doing the same performance you did in the movie, and it just doesn't.
For me, the amount that it bothers me depends
a little bit.
The amount that it bothers me depends largely on how much the character was in the original movie. So like Scott sounding weird bothers me, for example, more than Matthew Patel sounding weird, because Matthew Patel was in like one scene for 5 minutes.
Fair. I can see why you would say that.
But like, yeah, Scott Pilgrim does sound different, and that does
And then
it's
at the
weird.
end, Scott Pilgrim goes to Knives and is like, yeah, I should never have dated a 17-year-old. I probably shouldn't have dated you to begin with. At least that's what I'm told. And when you know that like this show is written by the guy who wrote the original comic, you're like, yeah, man, the story never reconciles with the fact that he's. It's not like he's 18 or like 19. He's like 22. He's far
Yeah,
enough into adulthood that like
that's weird.
that's weird because they like
How did they
how did
meet?
they meet? Like the
Like, was he just hanging around the Catholic schoolgirl, waiting for someone to come out that he could predatorily start
right?
coincidentally hanging out with? Like, yeah,
And it's
it's
made all
weird.
the more weird by the fact that she doesn't need to be 17. She could be 18. And then like the weirdness could be on the fact that she's still in high school, not the fact that she's a minor. Um
Yeah.
like not to say that him dating a high schooler isn't of itself weird, but the narrative draws enough of attention to the fact that it's weird that you can kind of be like, yeah, it's weird. And he's also my criticism of Michael Cera not having any charisma. He has so much charisma. The character is completely different in this. He's got more of a oh, he reminded me of someone in particular.
That
Um,
tells me that it's maybe not the actor who was the issue in the movie, but it was the writing that was the issue.
maybe, but what's even? Oh, another funny bit. Oh yeah, so future Scott, no, not future Scott. Future Ramona comes from the future because she discovers that she can travel through time, by using this subspace highway. Oh yeah, that's the other thing they cut out of the movie. Her
She
usage of
has her
the
she has her DeLorean
right,
rocket
yeah,
boots,
that
which
if she
let her
gets up
go
to
88
88
miles
miles
per
per
hour.
hour, if she gets up to 88 miles per hour, she can travel to the past. So she goes to the past and basically gives her the plot of the original, gives young Neil, sorry, the plot of the original movie. And Edgar Wrong, played by Edgar Wright, the original director of the movie, shows up to make the movie, which ultimately fails. And then they make a documentary about how the movie ultimately fails. It's funny. It's a funny
It's
show.
very funny. It's
But
very,
yeah, it
very
really
good.
does. It really does serve to answer every criticism of the original Scott Pilgrim comic and show. And it's another one of those like I feel like maybe I would have more of an appreciation of its differences from the original source material had I read the original books more recently. That the show felt that way
That's
too.
fair. That's
But yeah,
fair.
I and the ending where everyone hugs and they're all friends. It's like yeah, and there's this new timeline where although I did enjoy the fact that in the original timeline he's still the fact that the twins actually get to be a character and they get to be characters in this. I love their robot
Mhm.
who just exists in all of time and can witness all of time all at once. And they're like, yeah,
Right?
he said that or I love the ending where the last episode where he comes back and he tries to fight them all again, and and they're all like, nah, man, the moment's passed. Like this where we've all moved on. Or he goes to fight the twins and like, yeah, a
we
robot says we're bros in the future, so it's all good, man.
we're cool, man. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the rest of them are like, nah, man. We've kind of moved on. We've reconciled with Ramona. We're good.
Yeah, we're all good, man. I do kind of wish that yeah they had kind of explained like so yeah, so when he gets turned into coins, he's dead. Like they have a funeral and everything, and they all seem to be kind of ambivalent towards the fact that he's dead. But like he's dead. So like, what happens when yeah? Is it literally like you're dead? You go to the spirit world. Like what happens when you get turned into coins? Like,
You
um,
die.
are you just dead? Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I kind of
actually, I think what they actually say is in that show, I believe they say typically after the fight you wait to respawn.
yeah
Don't
because
they?
yeah he's friends with the twins and he coins the twins. Right. So yeah, they obviously came back to life. And
So
and
yeah,
Gideon is in that future too. You see Gideon. He's because he's
so so like I think the implication is that you typically come back. So you don't die typically. And I guess maybe that's what made this with Scott and this weird is it's like he shouldn't have died. He should have respawned after the fight
right. I also appreciated how they explain why he's living with
with
Wallace.
Wallace.
It's like oh he just kind of stayed. He crashed there after he broke up with Envy and he never left. Like that. Those are
Yeah.
moments where I'm like I feel like yeah this is stuff from the original book. Where they've
Yeah.
explained
Yeah.
they fleshed out these relationships just a bit more. But overall, yeah, I liked it, but it's hard for me to be like it's hard for me. Unlike searching, It's hard for me to be like I recommend this to people because you kind of have to be aware of Scott. I don't think if you're unfamiliar with Scott Pilgrim, I don't think it's gonna mean as much. I don't think it's gonna
I
hit
think
as
you,
hard.
I think you have to watch the movie, and then if you've watched the movie, you can watch this.
I think it'll help. I do. Yeah, the movie with the bare minimum, the movie. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but that's it. That was Scott Pilgrim takes off. He sure did take off in that show. Um, I
That
could
he did.
I could see how people, and I don't know if they were. I don't remember the Discord because I tried. I heard there was a big spoiler, which I'm so glad I avoided all of the spoilers for this show. But I heard there was a big spoiler, and when I heard there was a big spoiler, um, I avoided all the discourse from it. But I'd be interested to know people who are fans of the original. Were they disappointed by this? Like I'm not a super huge fan of Scott Pilgrim. I like the movie, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So like I'm not disappointed that it wasn't just a one-to-one adaptation of the comic or the movie, but in animated form. Do you think? I mean, are you disappointed that it's not that? And do you think that Scott Pilgrim fans would be disappointed by this? Are they looking for
I
a show that answers all those questions?
I think that my opinion would be that it would have depended on. I didn't watch any of the trailers or see how it was marketed. If it was marketed like, oh, this is just
It
the
was. It was.
story, then yeah, I could see people being a little peeved that it pretty immediately goes off and
I,
does its own thing.
I think
If
having
it
the
was,
original voice cast definitely probably
if
would
it's,
help soften it.
yeah, I would agree with that. But like, I think if it was marketed as its own thing and it's a mystery, then I think people would appreciate it for what it was.
Real quick before before I wrap this up and we move on to Ultraman Rising, um, the one thing for me that the reason why I went, oh, he sings his own songs is because when I was Brie Larson doesn't sing in this show. Again, I think she sings in the original movie, but Envy's got a different singing voice because she does a cover of I will remember you, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
Envy sang at his wedding or at his funeral. But the guy who plays Steven Stills, yeah, the reason why I went, oh, he does his own singing because they have new Sex Bomb songs in the show, and I was like, man, it sounds just like the original movie. Is that him singing? And yeah, sure enough, it's him singing. He sings in this too.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
So Jordan, ask me the questions you want to ask me.
Uh, did I recommend a good movie?
You did, yeah. I'm glad you recommended this to me. I've been wanting to watch it for a while. You were right. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Good.
I thought there was a moment where when Matthew Patel kills him in the first episode where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I need to. It's one of those. I'm glad I didn't watch it week to week. I watched it in one go because when you see it in one go, it's like, okay, I see the overall package here. I see what they were going for. I see the idea.
For me when I watched it and that scene happened and Scott disappeared, I was like, wait, what? No, that's not how this is supposed to go. That's wrong.
I was like, wait, what? I actually went back and I was like, wait, what? What just happened?
Like I had to do like a double take because I was like, wait, what?
That's not what's supposed to happen.
That's not how this story's supposed to go. Wait. What did I miss? Beep, 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 beep.
So with that, we got to move on. We got to move on to the thing, the movie that is the reason why this episode happened, Jordan. We have to talk about Ultraman Rising. Now, we're gonna skip right to the end, Jordan. Was I correct? Is this a good one?
It is, and
did it live up to the hype that I set for it?
I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very, very cute.
Cute. It gets there, man. It gets there for me. I got emotional.
Yeah.
So do non-spoiler thoughts first, and then we're gonna jump into some spoilers.
Non-spoiler thoughts. If you've never seen anything Ultraman, this is kind of your baby toe. It's my baby's toes into it. I have questions.
Okay, fair enough. I maybe can answer some of them. I'm not crazy familiar with Ultraman, but
no, and I don't know. There felt like there was maybe references that I'm not getting because I'm not big on Ultraman. But can I get into spoilers?
So non-spoilers real quick. One sentence or less. What did you think of it? Non-spoilers, and then we'll jump into the spoilers.
Oh, I liked it.
Okay. Well, before we jump into spoilers, let me ask you: Do you agree with my sentiment that it is Ultraman by way of Spider Verse?
I can see why you would make that comparison. I don't think it has enough Ultramen to be kind of in that same. It's not multiversal.
No, 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 no. But I mean in terms of its aesthetic and style.
Oh, yeah. I could sorry, I'm just noticing that we've had a comment. Sanguine Crimson, what am I watching by the way? Two bearded blokes talking about what? Currently we're talking about Ultraman Rising.
Ultraman Rising.
Um sorry, what was your question?
You said you saw the aesthetics to Spider Verse. How it reminded me of Spider
Oh
Verse.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the thin kind of lanky characters. I could kind of see where
I'm
like
more meant
what.
like in terms of its like color and like animation style.
Yeah, short version. Yes, I can see why you would make that comparison. Um, we're not talking about Marvel shit specifically. We're comparing the Netflix Ultraman Rising movie, and Justin is saying how aesthetically, it reminds him of the Spider Verse movies. But yeah, no, we will have fun. Thank you. Um. But can I get into spoilers now?
Yes, absolutely. Spoil it. Let us spoil the shit out of this. Movie's fucking great. Just number one. I've been waiting to
Um,
talk about this movie in spoilers because it is really good, and it's a movie you can
so
absolutely spoil.
okay, questions first.
Yes.
Um, are the characters in this based off of ones from the original?
No. No. It's a new interpretation.
No.
No.
Okay.
It,
So
it,
like
it utilizes like ideas from Ultraman. So the notion that a guy turns into Ultraman and there's the kaiju fighting force. There's always a
yeah.
variation of the kaiju fighting force.
Yeah, I knew that the kaiju fighting force. I know in one of them it's the science squad.
Yeah, yeah. There's always a
Um,
variation of that.
so like the dad and him have different looking faces, and I was like,
Yes, that
is
is a
that a
thing.
reference?
There are different versions. There are different Ultramen. There's not just one Ultraman.
Okay.
Ultraman. Well, okay. We're gonna end up skipping around a bunch here, but you know how at the end, um, you find out that the mom is still alive and she's on M19.
We don't. I didn't know where she was. I just know that she was. She's like, I'm
She's like,
still alive.
yeah, I'm still alive and I'm in like coordinates M19 or whatever. That's Ultraman's
Okay, yeah.
planet. That's Ultraman's planet. She's on
Oh,
Ultraman's home planet. And yeah, there's like
interesting.
I mean I think no, I don't know if I had you watch it, but there's a
And
movie
that was
called
the other
the
thing.
Ultra Brothers where there's like five or six. There's at least like they're kind of like similar to Sentai or where there's a bunch of them. There's more than one, and they all look different.
That if I had to give one not complaint, but I guess criticism to this movie is I don't feel like they explain the Ultraman powers enough.
And I can see why that was my thing. I'm like, this movie doesn't waste time explaining to you who Ultraman is, what he is, where he comes from, what his deal is. Um, the one thing with this is that I didn't like. I don't like that he talks as Ultraman. I understand functionally for the movie why he does that, why they need him to do that, but Ultraman doesn't talk. Well, that's not true.
Yeah,
Ultraman traditionally does. That it depends. Okay, the thing with Ultraman, it kind of depends. Sometimes they talk, sometimes, but when he's the Ultraman that's like fused with a human, they don't typically they don't say one-liners like he does. Like that he's not that kind of character. But that's
that
kind
didn't
of the
really.
point of this movie, to be fair, though.
Yeah, that didn't really bother me so much as I was just like, and maybe I missed it, but I just was like, so where did they get the Ultraman powers? How did they have the Ultraman powers? Why do
Yeah,
they have the
they
Ultraman powers?
skip over that
Why
because that's
why
not
does
the point of this
why
movie.
does why does this family just have the like? And so it yeah.
Traditionally,
In an origin movie, there should be a little bit of origin.
I don't disagree with you. Like ultimately,
Especially if this is supposed to be like the North American way to enter into this like what Ultraman is. I don't know what Ultraman is. You're
fair.
assuming a lot to assume that I know what this is and how this world works. You kind of have to take at least 5 minutes to go like to have a scene where the dad as a young man like goes into a crater and finds the magical power that allows him to wada yada
I do
whatever.
I do agree. Like especially when you get to the end and you find, I thought it was a thing of like, oh
Uh,
he passes it on to the son and he can't
yeah,
turn into.
yeah.
No, no. At the end you find, oh no, he could still turn into Ultraman, and he's not injured because they're like, oh, he can't be Ultraman because he's injured, but he didn't seem to be injured. I did love him coming back though. That made, I was like, oh, I thought for sure he was dead. I thought for sure he was dead. I was like, this is that kind of movie where he could be.
Yeah, but in a movie which is supposed to be, yeah, again, when he shows up and he's the Ultraman, I had the exact same thing where I was like, oh, so why did he need the sun to be here?
Yeah, right. Why my and hey, look, you can be critical of the things you love. But my thing was like, as a person who knows Ultraman, I had similar questions to you, where I'm like, Ultraman is traditionally his own person. So like, when you see a human turn into Ultraman, they're not turning it like.
They're being possessed essentially.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Thor.
yeah, kind of, yeah. Where Ultraman, in order to function on Earth, needs to bond with a human, and so when he turns into Ultraman, that's Ultraman coming out. So it's like a combination of Ultraman and the person, but the Ultraman himself is his own being. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And in Shin Ultraman, they kind of do away with that by having it where he possesses the human, and so Ultraman is possessing the human and he can turn into Ultraman, and so when he's human he's still technically Ultraman, but he just has the appearance of a human. Here it's like, yeah, it appears when he turns into Ultraman, it's like,
it kind of just feels like
weird,
an Iron
yeah.
Man suit.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. And you're right, it is. Like in mostly they usually have a device like that turns them into Ultraman, like a stick or like a power, like a
Like I guess my issue is that in this version it because they haven't explained what it is, it just makes me go like, okay, so did they invent the technology?
right,
Like,
right.
is this a thing that they have created, or is it supposed to be an alien thing? Because if it's supposed to be an alien thing, they haven't explained that, and maybe they'll do that in the sequel. I don't know.
That's what I figure. I figure the sequel's probably, especially if they're going to his planet, that indicates to me that it's going to get more into Ultraman's origins. And I feel like this isn't the point of this movie. It's more about to be his like the relationships between the characters than the nitty gritty of exactly how he works.
And so then, my other question, as a person who knows nothing about Ultraman, the monsters that are in this one, are any of them like pre-established Ultraman monsters?
I believe so. This is where I'm not crazy familiar with Ultraman, but I believe, I don't know if in appearance, but I believe by name, the one that is the one
that the dad was fighting.
Yeah, the mom, the mother of the baby that he finds. I believe.
Oh, the dragon.
Yeah, I recognize the name, so I believe that is a classic Ultraman villain. But the notion that they're not evil is new for this movie. They're usually evil. That's their whole thing, and they're usually they're evil and they're sent by the bad guy. That's usually how.
Yeah, whereas in this version it's more Godzilla rules, where they're just monsters. They're just creatures.
They're just and I quite, that's one of the things I love. I love the fact that Ultraman, he's more of a equalizer. Like, he reminds me of Godzilla. Like, if I'm like, if you were to do Ultraman American in live action, this is kind of how I would do it. Where it's like, he's kind of similar to Godzilla in that he creates balance. Like, he doesn't kill the kaiju, he just prevents them from hurting themselves and everyone else. And he's
essentially a big shepherd. He shepherds them away.
Yeah, and I really like that. I like that element of it where
and then the whole baby monster thing aspect of it, because so I have to admit, up until the moment where the egg hatches and he has the little baby thing, when they're fighting the big dragon or whatever, and the bad guys are like, kill it, and Ultraman is like trying to stop it. I'm like, but why? They're monsters. Kill them.
Well, that's what I like about this movie, is I like the fact that the bad guys are not bad guys. They just see a solution in a different way that maybe isn't necessarily the right one.
It's a little more brutal, but it's not necessarily the wrong thing.
And like, yeah, the action sequences are so good. Like it really solves that problem that Ultraman has, because it's animated. I've talked about it before, but the problem Ultraman has is he's big, and he's fighting big monsters. So in order to look like he's fighting gigantic monsters, he has to move slowly, and so it makes the fight sequences look clunky. Like, they don't like with Godzilla, when he like slowly bashes against guys, it looks less clunky because he's not just a rail thin guy. Whereas with Ultraman, it makes the fight that end. They have it in this, but it works differently in different Ultraman stories. But the heart the heart thing. Um,
Yeah,
there's a lot of Ultraman fights
the
where
the timer.
yeah, their idea of creating drama is just to have the timer go off, and it's annoying when you're watching him try to and it's like, boop beep, boop beep, boop beep, boop beep. I'm really glad that this movie found a way to be like, yeah, no, he doesn't have to worry about that all the time. Because that was early Ultraman was very much like, yeah, this is a constant and looming threat. And then there'd be other fights where it just doesn't happen, so the rules of how it works are like inconsistent at times. It's really annoying.
Yeah,
It's a thing I
yeah.
kind of wish they'd do away with in modern versions of this character. But yeah, for me, it was very much like, yeah, if I were to be like, hey, you want to learn about Ultraman and you like Godzilla and you want to experience Ultraman, like, and not have to worry about any franchise baggage, it's definitely the one. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm really happy. It's one of those movies that I loved, and there's sometimes where I watch a movie where I love it, and then you go to find out, you go to read more about it, and you're like, oh, I'm the only one who thinks this is good. Damn it. But which means I'm not gonna get to see another one. So every time I watch something, I'm always like, please tell me that other people think this is good. Because that means that I don't like it to see a sequel. And it did. It did exceptionally well. It's exceptionally well regarded. It did exceptionally well in terms of streaming numbers.
You know what I want in part two, after or maybe part three, after they come back from Planet Ultraman, is I want them to come back and fight Godzilla.
That'd be pretty fun. I mean, the climax of this movie where it's the mecha, whatever, and then it turns into him just fighting a giant robot. Oh, it's all good shit, man. Great movie.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
just,
had a good time with
it's
it.
genuinely just a good movie, man. I was legit. It was one of those ones that it caught me so off guard. I put it on. It was for our Netflix episode. I put it on just on a lark because I like Ultraman. I like Godzilla, and I heard it was good, but I just one of those ones that it caught me off guard just by like how good it was.
So
Um,
Justin, ring, 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 ring. Do you hear that phone? Ring, ring. Pick it up. Ring, 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 ring.
no, sorry,
Justin,
Jordan. I'm supposed
Just
to phone. I'm
no, no.
supposed to
I'm
phone.
phone. I'm phoning you this time.
You're
Ring,
phoning
ring,
me.
ring, ring.
Yes. This is Justin.
Justin, do you hear that phone?
I do.
Do you hear that phone? Because you called it, and
But
I'm calling you back.
oh, I mean, I did call it initially. And now you're calling me back. And yeah, it's good. I'm glad we did this episode. And in terms of the first part with movies we've reviewed, I'm definitely gonna re-explore that. I like picking for each other. I like getting to do that every once in a while. Cause yeah, I think
Every once in a while, it's fun.
to wrap up, before we get into the assignment, because we've already talked about the assignment, what's happening next week to death. Um, but I love this show
Deadpool.
because I discover shit I otherwise when you're pushed to watch stuff that you've never seen, you experience all kinds of crazy shit, and we wouldn't have gotten to see half of this good stuff if not for this show. Like, and that makes me so happy. We wouldn't have seen Ultraman. Maybe I would have watched it eventually, but certainly you wouldn't have watched Leo, or you probably wouldn't have
I
watched.
might have eventually.
But yeah, that's why I'm glad this show exists, and I'm hoping that some of the audience who tapped in there for a little bit, maybe they saw something different or interesting, that they can check out. That'd be kind of fun. But with that, the assignment for next week. It's the season finale everybody next week. And we've talked about what the season finale is. It's Deadpool.
Deadpool and
Deadpool!
and the X-Men.
And the X-Men. So we're actually getting to see Deadpool on opening night for the first time in like years. It's the first time we've gone to opening night of anything because we figured Deadpool deserved it. So
Deadpool.
it's gonna be a game of. I'd like to watch. I mean, let's instead of telling you what the let's give some sneak peeks on what maybe some of our previews of what we're thinking of doing for next week. I'm probably gonna do X-Men '97 finally. I think I'm finally gonna sit down and watch that. Let's probably start that today.
I mean, I know one of us is going to do X-Men Origins Wolverine.
We both have to do Deadpool.
I think one of us has to do Days of Future Past.
Probably me. Am I gonna do all the bad ones?
I mean, only if you subject yourself to that.
I kind of want to watch the three that I kind
Uh,
of
the
want to
two
watch the
that-
first one.
The two that I kind of feel that I have to do potentially maybe as unseen ones are Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, you still need have not seen. So yeah, you're lucky. You haven't seen two of the X-Men movies. I'm gonna have to do a whole show, and I'm probably gonna do Wolverine versus X-Men as well because I haven't seen that. I've never actually seen it. And
But if you want to see what we're gonna actually pick, you'll have to show up.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do all the first three X-Men's. I think I might just do X-Men 1. Just because I feel like
And
you have to.
technically, I only have to do one of those two because the other have not seen is going to be Deadpool 3. So,
Yeah, but I think Deadpool 3 is gonna get its own special section. So we'll just
God damn
yeah
you, man!
yeah. I think it's
God damn you and your rules and
my rules.
arbitrary.
Right, I change it to keep
Ugh.
it. I like making things difficult for Jordan. That's 90% of this show. But that's it. That's next week, Deadpool, and then we're gonna be off for a week after that. We get a free week to watch whatever we want, unrestricted, and then we will be back with Japan for our season 3 premiere, part 1 and 2. We're going back to Japan for some anime. We may have a special guest join us for that. It's gonna be fun. And then we're gonna go back to live action. I'm gonna watch Ultraman. I'm gonna watch an Ultraman series. Jordan's gonna watch Go Kaiger, and we're gonna talk some live action stuff.
Pirate Sentai.
Pirate Sentai ho! And yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna come back for that. And then yeah, it's gonna be season 3. Look forward to the season finale next week. Jordan, where can people find you if they didn't already know?
I do Minecraft Mondays on Twitch. I'm ZethGore187, and the rest of the time I'm here watching movies.
I am on TikTok. I'm at Justin Spurr on TikTok. I recently, and I don't know. Jake suggested splitting it up and me doing half and him doing the other half. I don't know. Maybe I'll post it here. But I recently did a political debate with, once again, our good friend Jake from Arete Media. We talked all sorts of political stuff.
You did politics? You don't do politics. Stay in your lane, funny man.
I'm considering just straight up just giving him the live and letting him do with it what he wants. But maybe I'll post it here if it's something people are interested in seeing. I might post it here. We'll see. But yeah, you can see that. I'm hoping to do more TikTok lives again to get back on doing that. So yeah, come follow me on TikTok. We also have a TikTok, Spur of the Moment podcast TikTok. Go follow that. We post clips from there. The shorts that go onto this YouTube channel go up there, but they don't have sounds on them. They don't have music on them. You can check that out. Promote all this shit. Like and subscribe. Comment. Leave comments. I try to post 2 videos of this podcast. You don't have to watch the full 2.5, 3 hour long thing. You can watch it in isolated clips. I got some good ones from this week. So look forward to that next week. You can email the show. It's justinsbusiness@gmail.com. That's the show email. Go to aretemedia.org. Jordan, am I missing any plugs? Trophy Smack. Once again, thanks for making us, and Jake, thanks for sending us this beautiful trophy. And One Weekend at Horrorland.
One Weekend at Horrorland.
Go support them. That's it. See you next week, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye. See ya.